dodge bullets, baby.
This is beyond fairy tale. It's inconceivable.
There it is. Doyle's done it.
Eastgate steps into poker history.
This is the greatest sport in the world.
You have survived 4 days of the main event.
Yes.
You have outlasted 90% of the field.
Woo!
You have fought your way into the money.
Yes.
But today, you're only halfway there. If you're a former champion,
Maybe Australian win.
a top pro,
I'm all in.
or an online phenom, you are picturing the coveted bracelet on your wrist.
Yes.
Yet, 400 others still remain, each thinking they could be the one, each braced for the task that lies ahead.
Woo!
Because everyone is only halfway there. Welcome to the 40th Annual World Series of Poker, presented by Jack Link's Beef Jerky, along with Norman Chad. I'm Lon McCarran. The main event field has been whittled down to just over 400 players.
Never in my life would I dream that I'd be here right now.
And what a field it is. Two have been competing against each other their entire lives, and today Dan and Adam Bilzerian are at the same table.
He's so lucky.
Bobby Baldwin, Dan Harrington, Peter Eastgate, and Joe Hasham are the four players left trying to recapture former glory.
Gentlemen, good morning.
Phil Ivey is one of several big names still in the hunt, hoping a top pro can return to the main event winner's circle. And at the featured table, several pros, including Jeff Shulman, who finished 7th in 2000, Andrew Black, who finished 5th in 2005, and online wunderkind ElkY Grospellier.
One of the chip leaders in the room, one of the more dangerous players in the room.
Main event bracelet seems closer to each one every day.
Jeff, did you go to UW?
I did.
I live in Everett.
There you go.
There, yeah, big house. Yeah.
Schulman was born in Seattle, attended University of Washington, or UW.
UW, is it? University of Dublin.
Andrew Black is from Belfast, Ireland.
I'm honorary.
Everyone's honorary. If you got a pulse, you're an honorary Irishman.
I believe ElkY went to the University of StarCraft, and they are the Raging Cajuns.
Action is on Jeff Shulman. On the Jack Link's Beef Jerky pocket cam, Jeff looks down at 8-4 offsuit, and he'll fold that.
Shulman looks surly.
ElkY Grospellier, Queen 7, into the muck.
Well, all you need to do is get some boot polish, and you'd look like a pint of Guinness there with that haircut.
Well, Guinness draft.
Andrew Black very comfortable. His 5th cash at this World
Nice.
Series with one final table.
Ace-Jack offsuit, he's going to raise it up to 24,000.
A very international feature table here. Foreigners have the Americans outnumbered 6-3.
And Randy Propson at this table is from Denmark, Wisconsin.
A hybrid.
Scott Buller with ace-king in the small blind.
Buller's a train conductor on the Burlington Northern Santa Fe Railroad from Lincoln, Nebraska to Kansas City.
I'm all in.
And that train's going all in right now.
They've got a great dining car.
Back to Black,
Would you like me to call, sir?
143,000 more.
You know, it doesn't really matter.
It doesn't matter because it's late in the tournament, or it doesn't matter because...
No. We're just getting started.
Andrew Black fishing for a little information.
Aye. On a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate your hand? That would be canned here, you know?
I'd have to rate Buller's hand higher than yours, Andrew.
Give me something.
Buller says it's just like the train. You got to pay to come along for the ride.
I call.
And he's going to pay to see that he's behind. And about half of Andrew Black's chips at risk.
Now it's a good time to get lucky.
Buller thinks it's a good time to double up.
Come on, the jack.
That would be a good card for Black. His ace-jack against the ace-king of Buller. The flop 4, deuce 9.
Please give me a diamond to make it exciting.
Andrew Black pleading for some good luck. He's now a 4-1 dog.
Turn card now. Another deuce. Not the worst card for Andrew.
Well, now if a 4 or 9 hits the board, they'll chop the pot. Otherwise, Black can only knock out Buller with a river jack.
It's an 8, and Buller will double up through Andrew Black. So the luck of the Cornhusker outkicks the Irish as Andrew Black hits a bump in the road early here on day 5.
Norman, 8 days of play will get us to our November 9, and now that we're halfway there, it's a good time to step back and take note of some of the stunning names still left in this field, including a very impressive one at our featured table.
Lon, one of the big stacks in the room is one of the best players on the planet.
Oh, Bertrand, ElkY, Grospellier may not roll off your tongue, but he has shown the poker world he is equally adept online and in living color. He's going to be around for a long, long time, so get to know his name. But if it's okay with you, I'm just going to call him ElkY.
ElkY, one of the many foreign players that make up this year's World Series of Poker. Just 3 chips in play right now. The newest, the dark green chip, worth $25,000. The chip average is at $479,000. The player who has accumulated the most chips, Matt Affleck in the Mariners jersey. He currently goes to UW and is over $2 million.
Apparently today is laundry day. The Mariners jersey, the only clean shirt Affleck's got.
Across the room, the reigning main event champ, Peter Eastgate, is all in before the flop. Action to 51-year-old Kevin Schaffel from Coral Springs, Florida. And Schaffel will lay it down.
Eastgate somehow sticking around with a modest chip stack. The last player to win back-to-back main events, Johnny Chan in 1987 and 88.
If Eastgate does go back-to-back, he'll have to go through 13,000 more players than Chan did. Phil Ivey began this day with almost 1.3 million chips. Right now, he's in a hand with Elad Magadov, who checked after the turn.
And I assume that player next to Phil Ivey is a surgeon on call.
Ivey now has chips in hand. 3 green, 1 orange, 80,000 chips.
Ivey had raised pre-flop and also bet the flop.
Magadov announces he's going to check raise. 200,000 total.
It's possible the masked man has a fear of germs. It's possible he has a fear of Phil Ivey.
Who doesn't? 120,000 more for Phil to call.
Well, that check raise has momentarily stopped Phil Ivey in his tracks.
Ivey will commit those chips to see a river.
Big pot now, more than $500,000 in there.
River card now is another jack. Magadov checks the river.
Is the masked man chewing gum?
Magadov has about 340,000 left. Ivey checks. Magadov shows he's got jacks and sixes, 2 pair, and he'll take the pot.
Magadov didn't have much. A bet on the river could have taken that down. I am not happy with my poker protege.
He gets the best of Phil Ivey, a rare feat this year.
Maybe my man should borrow a mask. It couldn't hurt.
That is not how he wants to start his day here. Ivey was in contention for Player of the Year, as was the man seated at table 2, Vitaly Lunkin. He won the 40K event, final table the 50K horse tourney. He's seated here with bracelet winner Prahlad Friedman. Prahlad with Queen 4. He will not play that. Action on Andrew Lichtenberger from New York, 21-year-old pro.
And the 21-year-old already is making No Limit Hold'em training video.
10-5 of hearts, a raise to 20,000 from the man better known as Lucky Chewy online. Vitaly Lunkin on the button, ace-8.
Lunkin this year cashed 5 times at the World Series and made 3 final tables. Lichtenberger in his first World Series ever cashed 5 times and made a final table too.
Lunkin re-raises to 60,000. The blinds fold.
You're like 240 behind.
I guess that's a yes.
I'm all in.
And that would put Vitaly Lunkin all in.
Indeed, with a deeper voice than I expected. Lichtenberger trying to bully the smaller stack with 10-5 suited.
A risky play from Lichtenberger. Vitaly Lunkin, a decision for all his chips.
Seems to me you are bluffing.
Seems to me he doesn't shave yet.
I have weak hand, but I seems to me you are bluffing. I give coin. If this side I call, fold.
Another coin?
Okay,
Sounds good.
I don't think that's a U.S. coin. This shouldn't count.
call.
He's going to flip a coin for his chips.
I guess his hand's a coin flip.
On its
It's
edge.
not call. Okay, I fold. Hand I look.
Oh, he folds.
Nah,
No.
I can't show you. You're too good.
Well, that's not how Vitaly won a bracelet on over $2.5 million at this World Series, but the coin did guarantee his main event will continue.
The 2009 World Series of Poker is presented by Jack Link's Beef Jerky. Feed your wild side. And in part by WSOP.com. Sign up for the official WSOP e-newsletter at WSOP.com and FullTiltPoker.net. Learn, chat, and play with the pros.
Back at the Rio for day 5 of the main event. We're down to 400 players and still some familiar faces out there. A couple of pros seated together. Bracelet winner Antonio Esfandiari seated next to two-time bracelet winner Bertrand, who was put out a raise, and everybody folds.
Take the money, doctor. Take the money.
Everybody's a doctor.
He's the only man in the world that's never had a losing session.
Antonio's brother's also in this field. Antonio swapped out the Y on their last name for an I because he said it looked better. Another pair of brothers also in the field. Venture capitalists Adam and Dan Bilzerian seated next to each other.
That would be like Fidel and Raul Castro sitting next to each other at Karl Marx roast. And is this the dermatologist again?
That is Alex Jalali. He's in a hand with Adam Bilzerian. Matt Waxman
All in.
has decided to move all in.
Waxman's cashed 4 times this World Series.
Adam Bilzerian now.
I'm all in.
All in.
Re-raises to put Jalali all in. And Jalali folds. Waxman at risk. Shows Jack-Jack. Adam shows Ace-King.
All in and go.
Oh, did you really?
It's a race. Waxman's got blinkers on.
And there's an ace to put a dagger in Waxman's hopes.
Boy, that flop fell right in front of Waxman. You don't think he wanted to toss that ace away?
Turn card now is a 4. No help to Waxman.
Bilzerian poised for the knockout. Waxman needs a jack to stay alive.
The river card now is a face card, but it's a queen. Bilzerian wins the hand. Matt Waxman knocked out in 399th place.
And Waxman very, very polite after busting out.
So Waxman will take home over $27,000. Adam Bilzerian has chipped up to almost $1.4 million.
Adam was a history major, graduated from Vanderbilt University.
He's had a nice start to this day 5. Let's get back to the feature table where Andrew Black is still stinging from doubling up Scott Buller earlier on. Action, though, on Tim Kallmeyer, 28-year-old German pro with pocket 4s. And a raise to $21,000. Buller with pocket kings this time.
Choo-choo.
He is loving day 5 so far.
I raise. We raise.
A re-raise with those kings.
The train conductor with plenty of open track in front of him.
And he will re-raise it to $76,000.
All right, 55 on top.
Jeff Shulman
76 total.
looks down at 7-6.
Rags.
The rags do go where rags belong. Grospellier now. ElkY with that big stack with pocket aces.
That's a train stopper.
That's a train wreck for Buller. Grospellier will re-raise the action to $177,000.
The former pro gamer, second in the World Cyber Games in 2001, fourth in 02, fifth in 03, but I'll play Pac-Man against him anytime, anywhere.
Kallmeyer gets rid of his 4s.
I'm all in.
I call.
Buller pushes, and a quick call from ElkY. Kings against the aces.
That was bang bang, and the train conductor's been derailed.
Grospellier positioned to pick up a lot of new chips. So here we go. Buller at risk. Queen 10 tray.
Jack of diamonds.
Come on, don't do that.
King of clubs.
Buller, in for his main event life, needs help in a hurry.
He'll take either king, I'm sure. Turn card. Oh, the king of clubs!
What did I call for?
King of clubs?
Buller ahead.
You really said the king of clubs, right?
Yes, I did. I said
Does
the
that
king
work?
of clubs.
ElkY now needs an ace or a jack to knock out Scott Buller.
River card is a deuce of diamonds, and Buller's 3 kings crack ElkY's aces.
The bad beat cost ElkY $325,000 of his chips.
One-time chip leader below $1 million now.
That's how you lose tournaments, I guess.
And how you win them. The Nebraska train conductor is on track and running over this feature table so far, leaving top pros in his wake, shaking their heads.
The World Series of Poker, presented by Jack Link's Beef Jerky. Main event.
Welcome back to the Rio. Let's get right over to table 2. Vitaly Lunkin seems to have put away his coin for the moment as he waits on Prahlad Friedman. Prahlad looks down at ace-10 offsuit on the button.
This is Friedman's first cash at the World Series since he finished 20th in the main event in 2006.
A raise to $23,000 from an early star in the online poker world. Folded over to Lunkin. Vitaly. Queen 4.
I want to believe Lundgren's the real deal. He had a spectacular World Series and he's won bracelets in back-to-back years, but it just seems like he's running real lucky.
All in.
And the big blind, he re-raises all in.
Queen high, 20 big blinds left, he pushes. And this would be for more than 1/3 of Pralad's remaining stack.
Lundgren has made a lot of his opponents during this World Series skittish.
I don't think Vitali wants a call here.
And Friedman lays it down.
Friedman didn't like his ace, and Lundgren gets a little healthier.
But below the chip average of 493,000. All right, let's move across the room. Phil Ivey is tangling with Elad Magadoff again after a flop of 4 King 5. Magadoff just bet 125,000.
Come on, Phil, you've got position on this guy. He's wearing a shirt one size too small. Let's take advantage of it.
He took some chips from Phil earlier. Phil will make the call here.
I can live with a call there.
This is Magadoff's first World Series cash. For Phil, his 36th. Turn card now is another 5. Magadoff checks.
Come on, Phil, attack.
Nope, he checks. River card is another king. Magadoff now reaching for chips. 175,000.
Magadoff taking it to Ivey again.
Phil not quite sure what to do with this guy, and he lays it down. Magadoff shows him his hand. What's he got? He's got a full house.
Hey, Phil, have I picked Elad Magadoff to win the main event the last 7 years? Maybe I should have. Come on, Phil. Stop hemorrhaging chips to these unknown wannabes.
Not a good day for Ivey so far, giving up over $500,000 of his stack. There's Pasha Esfandiari, the younger brother. He's all in with pocket aces, but Scott Citron flopped a set of 5s.
I called on the backdoor outs. I knew you had me, but I called on the backdoor outs.
Yeah, smart.
Turn card now is a deuce. Esfandiari picks up a straight draw.
So he needs an ace or a 3 to stick around.
It is a 10 on the river, and Pasha Esfandiari will say goodbye.
Good game, man. Good game.
Citron knocks out the younger Esfandiari. He wins over 27,000. Nearby, Big Brother saw what happened.
My brother busted. Very sad. Right now.
Antonio's not in this hand, but at the same table, Bertrand is in a 3-way pot after the river. That is Estelle Denny, one of the 6 women left in the field. She just bet 18,000 into a pot of 363,000. Action is on Chris Bach.
Let's do it.
You may recall Bach from his battles with Joe Hashem earlier in the main event.
He's going to raise it up enough to put Bert Boutin all in. Bert emphatically calls.
There's a green chip in there, yeah?
Denis folds.
Nuts.
Bert shows the nut flush.
Oops.
Yeah, oops.
And Bert Boutin takes a victory lap.
Yeah, he more than doubled up. He's one happy man, and there are 2 sad men of Broke Pasha Esfandiari being consoled by his older brother, Antonio.
All right, I'll bring it home for the family.
You too.
Elsewhere, it was bound to happen. An all Bilzerian hand. Adam on the left and his older brother Dan after the flop. Adam checks. And that is Dan betting 35,000.
Boy, I hope this isn't like Cain and Abel.
The younger brother trying to figure out what he's up against.
Cain was a farmer, Abel was a shepherd. These guys are venture capitalists, which is sort of like farming and shepherding indoors.
Adam will lay it down to Dan Bilzerian.
I had pocketed jacks.
No, you did not. He's a liar and a weasel, bro. Jesus.
Dude, I look like a man that's beaten by jacks.
While Dan Bilzerian trained to be a Navy SEAL, his brother Adam also took an extreme path, but in another direction. He'll be the first to say it wasn't easy, but he did what he believed in.
Senior year of college, I started to become politically aware. I'm in between like a Republican and a Democrat. I'm a Republican on a lot of gun and tax issues, and I'm a Democrat on a lot of drug and those kind of issues. I just believe in freedom. I don't believe that government should have control over everybody's life and dictate everything to everybody. It's a principle of control. It's unconstitutional. And I wrote a book about it. It's America, Love It or Leave It, and then so I left. I renounced my citizenship. St. Kitts is my official residence. Of course, it's extreme. Like only 800 people do it. The road that I've taken has been really hard. I gave up a lot. My life's been pretty miserable for the last 2.5 years, not going back. All my family and friends are here. I couldn't travel back. I miss home. The only reason why I'm here is because my brother wanted to go to Vegas. You know, he wanted to play in the tournament, and so I wanted to hang out with my brother, who I really missed. When I knew I was coming back, when I got that visa, it was like the greatest day of my life. This has been too much trouble than it was worth. If I were to tell somebody else, I would say it's not worth it. And you don't appreciate what you have till it's gone.
Adam obtained his visa in order to visit his sick grandmother. The World Series was an afterthought so he could spend time with his brother Dan.
It's still stunning to me that these two brothers, by random draw, ended up not only at the same table, but ending up sitting next to each other. Just amazing. Back to the featured table and the Jack Link's Beef Jerky wild card hand as you play along at home to try and guess what the concealed cards are. Over to Francois Balmigère. Lives in France. He has King Jack offsuit.
He's a poker coach. Lon, I could swear everyone in poker other than you and me is a coach, instructor, or trainer. We're just stupid.
A raise to 22,000.
22.
Action on Jeff Shulman. 8 deuce.
Jeff Shulman owns a poker magazine. He publishes coaching.
He and ElkY fold. It's on Rolf Slotboom, poker pro from Amsterdam. He folds. Action on Andrew Black. He has the wild card hand.
I'm all in.
I'm supposed to figure out a Buddhist hand?
Whatever it is, he moved all in.
Okay, you're Francois Balmigère. Andy Black knows you raise from early position, so he's got to put you on a good hand. Andrew's got only 20 big blinds left. He has blown up before. He's capable of pushing with anything, but I think he's pushing with at least a medium pair or any ace. In either case, I'm beat. I'd fold.
It's all right.
Balmigère folds. Good call, Norman. And ace-queen for Andrew.
Come on, Ireland.
Come on, poker coach Norman Chad. I nailed it.
Black wins the Jack Link's Beef Jerky wildcard hand.
Wouldn't want to leave the table without winning the hand.
That's no limit hold'em today. A pre-flop shove by Black earns him some chips.
The World Series of Poker, presented by Jack Link's Beef Jerky. Main event.
Back to the Rio, 370 players remain. 6 of them are women, and one of those women is Nicole Pepe.
Nicole is married to fellow poker pro Tad Jurgens.
So far, Nicole's chip stack moving in the wrong direction, across the room.
Kara Scott Chad.
Called the all-in of Jameen Stokes, his pocket kings against her ace-king. One card to come. The river card is a queen, and so Stokes will double up to Kara Scott.
Is it everything?
She has cashed at back-to-back main events, but Kara Scott Chad should be a little more careful with our money.
She's left with fewer than 100,000 chips. One of the remaining women may be on her way out. Marla Schwartz at risk. Her 10s against Pat O'Malley's now set of jacks.
Ace, 9, 10.
Oh, I'm going to miss this, Lon.
9 or 10. 9 or ace. Oh, my
It's a deuce on the river. Marla Schwartz eliminated.
Wow.
That wasn't good.
All right, guys. Have fun. Thank you. You too. Bye-bye.
Who's going to shout all the outs for us now?
Only 5 women left now in the 2009 main event. Back to the featured table, Andrew Black looking to get something going today.
Andy, you want to tell us and the rest of the world what this thing is?
It's a scepter.
Tesla machine.
Time machine.
And he wishes there were a time machine. Go back to 05, he'd have millions of chips.
But then he'd have to live through his meltdown all over again.
Action will start on Jeff Shulman. Jeff with pocket deuces.
The first time Shulman ever played in the main event in 2000, he made the final table. He finished 7th.
He limps in for 8,000 on ElkY Grospellier. Ace-9 of spades.
ElkY says his pro gaming career is behind him. It's poker from here on in.
Such a stellar run up to day 5. ElkY was expecting big things, but it's been a dry day for him. Action on Tim Kallmeyer.
Kallmeyer does some online coaching in Potlam in Omaha.
Folded around to Francois Balmigère. Ace-10 of diamonds.
That jacket's a very thin cut.
In the small blind, he calls Randy Propson, our Denmark-Wisconsin player in the big blind. King-6, and he'll check his option.
Propson graduated from the University of Wisconsin, says he's one of the world's 8 best Yahtzee players. Yeah, Yahtzee.
4 to the flop. Jack 8-7. Nobody hits a pair. Shulman's best with his deuces. Grospellier missed. Balmigère with a gut shot straight draw, and he checks.
3 players had 5 overcards to Shulman's deuces, and the flop missed them all. I checked the deck.
Checked over to Shulman with the smallest of pocket pairs. Bets 20,000. Why not?
Shulman says, let's see who wants to play.
ElkY Grospellier gives it up. Over to the other Frenchman at this table, Balmigère now. Balmigère with a gut shot straight draw, and he gives it up. So now it's left up to Randy Propson.
No Yahtzee here.
Randy Propson folds his rag. Shulman's deuces were best, and he will win that small pot.
Easy money.
It's running pretty good, right? Or is it mostly skill?
Huh?
Mostly skill or just running?
Well, you know, I've been like focusing it on the last few nights and thinking like what hands I'd like.
You should read magazines. They're a really good tool.
I try not to read. It's overrated.
Obviously tongue-in-cheek, as Jeff and his father operate the longest-running poker magazine. It's now one of the many sources for the avid poker fan, but when the Shulmans first got into the business, it was a bit of a different world.
I'm the owner and operator of Card Player Magazine. Poker's grown so much in the last 5 years that we were there forever, and we were like the only way to expose these poker players. Luckily, because of Card Player, I was able to meet tons of poker players, Daniel Negreanu and John Jawanda and Alan Cunningham and Phil Ivey. And it really makes it a much quicker learning curve when you have the best players in the world teaching you. I'm not in the same boat as all these guys. They've all done extremely well at poker, and I've kind of sat on the sidelines. I just can't believe these people that are famous now. My friends are now famous.
What's up?
Now they're all celebrities. I like to just kind of sit back and avoid everything if possible. And now I'm just trying to play and hang with the rest of the group.
I personally don't love it, but Jeff's beard makes him look like a real poker player. He is friends with the finest players in the world. On the other side of the coin, he's also best friends with Adam Schoenfeld.
Back to table 2, where Vitaly Lunkin is still struggling to get some main event momentum. Action is on Carter Swidler. Looks down at pocket nines.
Swidler says he enjoys sitting around doing nothing. Sounds like my next intern.
He raises the action to 21,000 to Vitaly Lunkin. Vitaly looks down at ace-queen.
Ace-queen is a loser. How many times I gotta tell you?
What's so funny?
Okay, last time, all in.
All in.
He's all in with the ace-queen.
All right, I need another count. What was it at last time?
No, I hope last time, yeah.
Well, Lunkin's chipped up some. He's got 30 big blinds right now.
What's it at, though?
Swidler needs 214,000 more to call.
Lunkin's all in with a better hand this time than last time.
All right, I call.
And with his pocket nines, Carter Swidler will put Vitaly Lunkin at risk.
Good luck, boy.
I need to hold.
Of course, call.
Lunkin in a race behind for his tournament life.
And now the flop. It is queen, jack, ace. Lunkin knows how to make ace-queen sing.
This Lunkin will out-flop you, out-turn you, or out-river you.
It's a deuce on the turn. Swidler a long shot.
Swidler needs a 9 to dispose of Lunkin.
It is a tray on the river. Lunkin will win and double up to almost $500,000.
Swidler's chips will transfer over to the Russian. He runs good. He runs very good. If he ran for president of the United States, I'd like Vitaly Lunkin's chances.
He didn't need the coin that time. No Russian has ever won the main event, but with that double up, Vitaly keeps the dream alive.
The World Series of Poker, presented by Jack Link's Beef Jerky. Main event.
Back inside the Rio, that's what our remaining players are shooting for, the coveted main event bracelet. At the feature table with ace-5 of clubs, Francois Balmigère is all in after the flop against Scott Buller, who has pocket kings again. Balmigère picked up straight and flush draws. Turn card is a 10 of clubs. Balmigère will win the hand and double up.
King's no good for Buller this time. Balmigère, Vitaly Lunkin's the turn and doubles up.
So Buller's kings pay a big price, and he's the one who's doubling up someone. Balmigère having a good day 5 so far.
How did you know?
Yeah, sure it is. No, I made a mistake. I said it was 2 aces. You know, that's why I re-raised those again.
Yeah, no, in America, the aces look different. It's tough.
Oh, he thought he had aces. A few years ago, I thought I had a future.
So what happened to main event champs the year after they won? 4 went back-to-back, 8 cashed in the main event, including defending champ Peter Eastgate, who's still alive. There was 2005 champ Joe Hashem, who cashed the year after he won the big one. He's in a hand right now on the flop. Joe decides to lay this one down, and his opponent shows aces. Nice fold, Joe.
I could have...
I was like, why can't it be?
I had a few outs.
3 other main event champs still in the field. One of them is all in yet again. Peter Eastgate shoved on the flop of 4 ace-jack against Paul Johnson. Johnson gives it up.
It just seems like Eastgate has been short-stacked for days on end. A very gritty title defense for the youngest main event champ ever.
Eastgate's still below the chip average of 540,000. But when it comes to making deep runs in the main event, Dan Harrington's name stands out. The 95 champ put out a bet, and he will take down that pot. He may be older than the average player, but never count Dan out, especially when wearing that lucky green Red Sox cap. But Dan, what's up with the neck brace?
I woke up one day, I guess I slept incorrectly, and maybe it was from strained neck muscles. Now I'm sitting there all day long with my head hanging over the poker table. I talked to some of the younger players.
You remind me of when I graduated from the 8th grade.
And they say, yeah, we feel the strain too. They were hoping I was seriously injured and maybe I couldn't last.
I'm all in.
Experience is my greatest weapon. This later stage of a tournament is more like a chess game. You're ducking, you're dodging, you're maneuvering, you're trying to move the pieces on the board.
I wish I had that.
You have to look at the pace of the tournament and try to go with the flow.
I'll give it to you. Good hand.
When you get towards the end, the adrenaline kicks in and you just can't help but think, boy, it really would be nice to get to the final table, to do it one more time. Then I will say that I had a great run in this tournament.
He's finished first, third, fourth, and sixth at the main event. Wow.
To 1978 world champ Bobby Baldwin, who was almost this year's bubble boy, but he's looking to double up here. His jacks against the 10s of Julian Bricard. There's the flop, and there's a 10. Bricard hits a set to put Baldwin on the edge.
Between 1978 and 94, Baldwin had 6 top 30 finishes in the main event.
He needs help on the river.
He'll need a jack.
The river card is a 5. Bricard wins and knocks off Poker Hall of Famer Bobby Baldwin. So now we're down to just 3 world champions in the field. Back to table 2, Vitaly Lunkin has to be a little more comfortable after his recent rally. Action on Carter Swidler, who doubled up Vitaly a short bit ago, ace-10.
Swidler just 22, hopes to
21.
Open an online business using his poker winnings.
He raises to 21,000 on Prahlad Friedman, ace-queen of diamonds.
Prahlad, one of the early online legends. Nice to see him back on top of his game and playing live.
Spirit Rock, as he's known online, calls for 21,000. Next in line, Vitaly Lunkin. He gives it up. Everyone else does.
That cough is a tell. I think he has a cold.
There's the flop. It is 5-10 ace Swidler with top 2 pair. Friedman just a pair of aces. 30,000 from Carter Swidler.
Swidler bets about half the pot.
Friedman with top pair, which is second best, with a min raise to 60,000.
What's a min raise?
It's the minimum you can raise.
Oh, you learn something every day.
Back to Swidler now with top 2.
I'm all in.
And a max raise.
And the max raise would be for most of Prahlad's chips.
Practicing your favorite hobby? I looked this guy up online. It's one of his favorite hobbies is tilting.
That's online tilting. I wouldn't tilt in the main event.
You wouldn't?
You got to give me a bit of credit.
I've got to give Prahlad credit for scouting his table mates online.
What do you have?
I got a good hand.
I'm already all in. You could tell me. I
guess you're supposed to have ace king or might have ace jack of hearts.
Maybe kings. I don't believe that you have an ace.
Nice lie, buddy. I have a feeling I might have you beat, but I think you might have a huge draw.
Very friendly conversation with this much at stake.
You have a made hand?
Oh, it's made.
No more talking?
All right, now.
Swidler got too quiet for Prahlad's taste there.
Prahlad lays it down.
Sure.
And the ace-10 will be good enough to take that pot.
Swidler out-flopped Friedman, and now will enjoy his chips.
Carter Swidler will not open his hand, but does siphon a few chips from Friedman, who made the right fold. A key part of a pro's poker arsenal is realizing when a laydown is the best move. Friedman dodged a bullet there. Welcome back to the 40th World Series of Poker Main Event. 355 players remain, but only one Esfandiari in the field. Antonio has been moved to Lou Diamond Phillips' stable. He's watching as LDP has Scott Baumstein dominated and at risk. Turn card is a 6. Phillips still ahead.
Baumstein picks up a straight draw. The 25-year-old grad student from NYU can stay alive now with a 5 or a 4.
And now the river card. It is the 4. Baumstein hits his straight to double up through Lou Diamond Phillips.
Wow.
Baumstein counts his blessings.
Despite the punishment he's taken, Phillips has an above-average tip stack. Another actor, Justin Henry, also has a player at risk on the flop. Henry with 2 queens against the 2 jacks of Odie Darden, and the turn gives Darden a straight.
So Justin Henry now would need a 10 to make a higher straight in order to knock out Darden.
And now the river card. It's another jack, and Darden will double up. Hollywood taking a beating out there.
These actors should go on strike. They're losing income.
Back to the grind.
He's lost almost 250,000 chips today. Back to the featured table. Day 5 has not been kind to ElkY Grospellier, although he is still healthy in chips. Andrew Black also has had a rough go of it so far, down to under 200,000. Jeff Shulman so far is holding his own. Action is on Jeff on the Jack Link's Beef Jerky Pocket Cam. King-Queen offsuit.
Shulman says he used to be aggressive, but has laid low for most of the main event.
He raises it to 25,000 with his King-Queen. ElkY Grospellier has 2 queens. ElkY just calls.
ElkY laying low there, choosing the smooth call with his queens.
ElkY works out as a kickboxer. The French are very good at kickboxing. Andrew Black, 10-7 off.
One of Andrew Black's weaknesses, not being able to change gears at the right time. He kept pushing at the 05 main event final table, and it cost him.
He folded there. Scott Buller, 9-8 of spades.
Buller was runner-up at this year's seniors event here. It had a field of 2,707. And Lon, that didn't even include your dead money.
I couldn't get the loan. Buller made the call. Propson now with 8-6 off.
Propson says he actually makes good money from gambling at Yahtzee. Are there underground Yahtzee clubs?
Never seen one.
You wouldn't see one. They're underground.
Propson called. 4 players will see the flop. ElkY's best with the queens. The flop is ace, jack, trey. Grospellier's pocket queens are still best. Buller with a flush draw. Propson got nothing, almost drawing dead. Propson checks. Jeff Shulman now needs a 10 to make a straight. And he checks. ElkY's got the best hand with queens, but both he and Buller check. That ace is a scare card. 5 of hearts on the turn. Grospellier's still best. Propson now drawing dead.
You know, in Yahtzee, he's never drawn dead.
Nope, he's not, but he checks. Shulman now. The pot's hanging out there like a big piñata.
Well, Shulman says he's not that aggressive anymore, but he senses apathy all around him and looks like he's going to take some initiative here.
He will take a shot and bet 65,000, more than half the pot.
He's just on a draw.
ElkY with 2 queens is in the lead.
ElkY's had the best hand all along, but he's played this hand like he can't remember if he left the water running in the bathtub at home.
He lays down the queens, but doesn't look happy about it.
Shulman's gotten the best hand out, so Jeff's king is now the best hand.
Buller folds it. So with those players out, Propson not drawing dead, but drawing thin.
Now he's back from the dead momentarily.
And he does fold, and Jeff Shulman will take that pot.
Well, all you got to do is put your chin out there and see if anyone takes a swipe at it.
Every time you raise, so I'm going to ask if you had it.
And I'm always going to have it until I'm out, of course.
Until I get looked up, I got it.
So far, so good for the poker media mogul Jeff Shulman. One player who earned a lot of ink and money this year is Vitaly Lunkin over at table 2. Vitaly raised pre-flop under the gun to 22,000 with 2 aces. Action's now folded to the button, and Carter Swidler with 5 deuce off.
I think the toothpick is a mistake unless it's flavored.
And he's going to re-raise to 67,000. That's the wrong time to get fancy.
He gets fancy and frisky on the button.
I call.
With his aces, Lunkin will make the call.
Lunkin will get tricky and hope to trap Swidler.
So the aces against 5 deuce. Lunkin in good shape. Here's the flop, heads up. 9 deuce 5, and getting fancy could pay off for Swidler. He hits 2 pair. Lunkin with the aces and the nut flush draw.
Lunkin got cute with the aces and he got out flopped, but that heart draw keeps the Russian favored.
He checks it. Swidler now. That's 55,000 with his 2 pair.
How much?
55. They both think they got the other one right where they want him. It's sort of like Bill and Hillary Clinton.
Lunkin now.
I raised.
With a check raised to 120,000.
I'm all in.
And all in from Swidler. And a quick call from Lunkin.
Bang, bang, bang. Big pot. Swidler all in, Lunkin risking most of his chips.
Norman, if you're Vitaly, what are you thinking? You got aces, and now you're up against 5 deuce, and you're in trouble.
It was David Goliath pre-flop, but Goliath now, as you say, in trouble.
All right, turn card now. Is a 6, and Swidler is now the favorite.
Lunkin can still knock out Swidler with an ace, 6, 9, or any heart.
Yes! It's a king, and Swidler wins the hand and cracks the aces of Vitaly Lunkin.
Yeah, Lunkin hit aces on the flop earlier to double up on Swidler. Swidler now doubles up by cracking those aces. Hard to believe 5 deuce off could cause that much damage to pocket aces. Lunkin almost bankrupt.
Swidler's roller coaster ride here is on the upswing, while Vitaly Lunkin may be contemplating the end of his magical World Series.
The 2009 World Series of Poker is presented by Jack Link's Beef Jerky. Feed your wild side. And in part by WSOP.com. Get official items for your home poker game at WSOP.com. And PokerStars.net, the world's largest poker site.
Welcome back inside the Rio. Let's look at the PokerStars.net chip count. Some notable names, ElkY and Ivey way down today. Gabe Walls is the new chip leader, but with plenty of challengers on his heels. And there is Walls putting some pressure on Peter Eastgate by raising the champ all in after the flop.
Eastgate has played most of this main event on the edge. He's again put to the test here for all his chips.
Eastgate does lead with kings up. Walls, though, with the nut flush draw.
I call.
Peter does put himself at risk.
Calls, 155.
That's a flip. Oh, you have the king of diamonds, you sicko.
Hold on, please, Taylor.
Walls looking to end Eastgate's back-to-back bid.
Bring a 7.
Don't give him a 7. He already won this thing once.
Turn card now. 9 of spades. Peter 1 card from doubling.
An ace or a diamond sends Peter Eastgate home.
River card is a 6 of clubs, and Eastgate wins it again and doubles up.
Eastgate's impressive run continues.
The only other surviving member of the November 9 is Dennis Phillips. His pocket 10s have Benjamin Kang in trouble, but Kang with 2 overs. Deuce on the turn. Kang 1 card from the rail. River card is a jack, and Kang doubles up.
By the way, he won.
Dennis just didn't match up well there. A severe height disadvantage against Kang.
Phillips does manage to remain good-natured about it. Not a big hit. Dennis has added $300,000 to his stack on this day of play. Let's catch up with Dan Harrington after a flop of ace, queen, queen. Dan bet $56,000 into New York poker pro Eric Buckman.
Buckman has made 2 World Series final tables.
It's $56,000 to call. And Buckman raises to $156,000.
I'm all in.
And Dan shoves all in.
When Dan Harrington goes all in, people usually go out. Action Dan understands the latter stages of tournament play as well as anybody.
Dan with a big-time Harrington on Hold'em play right there. He'll take the pot.
Peter Eastgate, Dennis Phillips, Dan Harrington. Great second acts brewing out there. Harrington actually on his 5th or 6th act.
Back to the featured table now. Some very powerful poker minds sitting here as well. Since Buller's early rush, Norman, nobody really taking charge of this table.
Jeff Shulman always looks like he's ready to take charge.
Andrew Black needs to take charge. He is short on chips. Black looks down at pocket 4s.
Black made a World Series final table this year in pot limit Omaha high-low. That's a tough game to learn right, Lon.
A raise just short of 3 times the big blind to $23,000.
Do you want me to teach you PLO high-low? I could mold you in my image.
I'll take the lesson, but pass on the image thing. Jeff Shulman with pocket 8s in the big blind. Shulman just with a call. So heads up between 2 men who have made a main event final table.
Shulman did it in 2000, Black in 2005.
Here's the flop. It is 10-8-5. Shulman hits a set of 8s.
In terms of facial hair grooming, Andrew Black with a big advantage on Jeff.
Jeff slow plays his 3 8s.
But Andrew Black doesn't bite.
Turn card is a deuce. Shulman now with a check mark. Black drawing dead.
And it looks like Jeff Shulman will wait no longer with his set.
He thinks 40,000 is enough. Black can't get his chips in quickly enough.
Boy, Andrew could be hurrying towards trouble.
Another 5 on the river. Shulman now improves to a full boat.
And And Jeff taking a look and eyeing Andrew Black's last chips.
110.
Shulman will put Black all in.
Call.
Black makes the call and sees that he has been eliminated.
Black's main event over in a flash. I never saw that blow up coming.
And he does seem to have difficult moments late in the main event.
Well, this was silent and lethal. Jeff Shulman busts Andrew Black.
This was Black's first main event cash since his final table in 05, but he's none too happy about it.
Another spectacular blow-up.
Andrew Black sees another fine main event showing and unsatisfactorily and suddenly.
So Black blows up. He's out in 351st place. He'll take home almost $30,000, but that surely does not take the sting out of that elimination. Jeff Shulman rakes in the chips, and Black looks for the nearest exit.
It'd be fun to say nice hand, Bertrand.
How do you pronounce it? Bertrand?
Yeah, Bertrand.
Bertrand?
French way, but...
Well, that's not as funny then. Never mind. ElkY's good.
It has been a rough go for ElkY so far today. Let's take a look at some of the chip counts right now. Tom Schneider leads a closely bunched group in the chip stratosphere. Former chip leader Matt Affleck not far behind in second place. And Peter Eastgate's defense is still very much alive, while Phil Ivey has lost almost 1 million chips already today. All right, let's get back to play at the featured table. Randy Propson on the Jack Link's Beef Jerky Pocket Cam. Looks down at pocket fours.
He studied consumer science at the University of Wisconsin. Consumer science? He could have just moved in with me and saved 4 years of tuition.
He raises the action to $23,000. Folded over to ElkY Grospellier with pocket fives.
Grospellier started calling himself ElkY when he became a pro gamer.
Want to play 20,000, 40,000 limit for the rest of the hand? Probably not.
Depende do flop.
So it's the Yahtzee Kingpin against the former video gamer.
10-6 King. Grospellier's pocket fives are still best.
That seems more like a $2, $4 flop than 20,000, 40,000.
Props in first to act. I guess he wants to play 40-80. He makes it 40,000.
Well, the amateur wants to see if that flop missed Grospellier and hopes that bet could end matters.
With just fives, Grospellier.
I want to get a new flop.
He wants a new flop, and he folds.
New flop. Deal a new flop.
Nice hand.
One pair.
One small pair. Good play by Propson, the Yahtzee savant.
So Randy takes a small pot from ElkY, but that's the way the day has been going for Grospellier. His stack has been slashed almost in half, and that surely cramps his style. Patience will be the key. He knows he can't win it today, but he can lose it. Norman, the field is getting smaller, and while there are still plenty of players looking to continue their first deep run, there are a few left who've won before, and some who have come oh so close.
Lon, do you see that in the distance there? It's the end of this tournament, and everyone is starting to think maybe, just maybe, for Joe Hashem, Peter Eastgate, and Dan Harrington, this may be a chance to make history again. For Dennis Phillips, Jeff Shulman, and Phil Ivey, this may be a chance to take care of unfinished business. And for the rest of us, this should be a main event to remember.
Jeff Shulman remembers his first main event in 2000. He finished 7th. Chris Ferguson won it all that year. Let's head out to the field now and check in on another player who's come close to the title before, Phil Ivey. He finished 10th in 2003. Right now, Phil has re-raised Denmark pro Mads Andersen. Action on Hamid Nurafshan, who comes over the top with all his chips. So back to Anderson. He lays it down. So now the decision to Phil Ivey.
You know, it's tough to sit here and watch my main man Phil Ivey's chip stack diminishing, his main event hopes dwindling, and guys I've never heard of pushing him around.
Ivey's going to give it up.
Painful.
Good pull.
He says good fold.
You want to see my card?
You're going to give Phil Ivey information?
Oh, aces.
Now he knows it was a good fold.
You'd have broke me if it had folded around. Guess I was lucky.
Ivey not broke yet, but it sounds like he came close. Phil was up to almost 1.3 million at the start of the day, but he's been stuck in reverse. Last year's third place finisher Dennis Phillips is facing a bet from Pat O'Malley on a board of Jack 4-4 deuce.
I'm all in.
And Dennis raises all in.
O'Malley, an insurance executive from Cleveland.
O'Malley will give it up.
There you go, buddy.
You know, sometimes I look at Dennis Phillips and I could swear he won the main event.
Phillips moving close to the 1 million chip mark.
Take it easy, Dennis. Take it easy. Okay.
What an amazing run by Phillips, a true amateur trying to make back-to-back main event final tables. That would be like a street artist painting the Mona Lisa and Whistler's mother on back-to-back canvases.
There's the man who knocked Dennis out last year, world champ Peter Eastgate, once again mixing it up with Gabe Walls. Walls put out a big bet on the river of $250,000. Peter Eastgate makes the call. Walls turns over 2 spades for the spade flush.
And Peter makes that icky face that usually signals he's got an icky hand.
Handing chips to Walls, who's now up to $1.7 million.
Like Dennis Phillips, Peter Eastgate's been on a remarkable run. He survived everyone last year. He survived 95% of the field this year.
To another world champion 95 winner Dan Harrington, and a hand right now with Charlie Elias, who already has the check mark, holding pocket queens on a very scary board. River card is a tray of diamonds. Elias first to act. That's out 40,000.
Harrington, another remarkable story in the making, hoping for his 5th main event final table.
A raise to $500,000 from Action Dan.
Action Dan bluffing with more than half of his stack right here. Look at that board. Can Charlie Elias call this raise?
Wow, and he does. What a gutsy call with the queens. And sheepishly, Action Dan shows nothing.
Great read by the 26-year-old Australian amateur.
Harrington has made main event final tables in each of the last 3 decades, but his shot for another one this year just took a blow.
Action Dan in free fall. Good thing he's got the neck brace.
All right, let's head over to table 2 now, where the magician, Antonio Esfandiari, has taken up residence. Antonio won his only bracelet in 2004, pot limit hold'em, ace-king offsuit.
Antonio's brother Pasha also cashed in this main event, finishing 371st.
Antonio raises it to 32,000. Lou Diamond Phillips still in the field. 7-6 off. He mucks.
Is Lou Diamond related to Dennis Phillips?
Not that anybody knows of. Now on 22-year-old Australian Daniel Nielsen with ace-king offsuit. And he re-raises to 98,000.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's been a good 2009 World Series of Poker.
Antonio planning a theatrical exit.
And he is all in.
I call.
And a call from Nielsen.
All that excitement. Did you have ace queen?
Nielsen disappointed he had to stand up for nothing.
Clubs, punish him one time for playing ace king.
I got you paid. I got diamonds. Like, I'm at least 51%.
What's your name, sir? I will go to your house and wash your house. I will wash your car if you put clubs out there. I will wash your car. I swear. I give you my word.
It's a much better performance than I've ever given.
The dealer should make Antonio wash his house. That's what he said first.
Ace-king versus ace-king. 8 tray
Diamonds.
8. 2 diamonds.
I will break your car if you deliver a diamond. I will vandalize your car.
Boy, Antonio turns on you in a hurry.
Turn card is a club, and we'll have a chop pot.
Nice hand.
That's a lot of activity for very little accomplishment.
Did you specify how many clubs had to be there? Because there's 2 clubs there. So.
Well, you know. I'm kind of agreeing with you. All right.
Always exciting.
That was fun.
The good times will continue for Antonio, but he has to stop chopping pots if he wants to win this thing.
The 2009 World Series of Poker is presented by Jack Link's Beef Jerky. Feed your wild side. And in part by WSOP.com. Sign up for the official WSOP e-newsletter at WSOP.com and FullTiltPoker.net. Learn, chat, and play with the pros. The World Series of Poker, presented by Jack Link's Beef Jerky. Main event.
Back inside the Rio, where we find action underway already at the featured table. Randy Propson with pocket jacks moved all in over the top of Scott Buller's raise of 93,000. Action back on Buller, who will be all in if he makes the call.
We got ace king. We got the same hand. I call.
Buller makes the call to put himself at risk.
Buller the train conductor, Propson the Yahtzee guy.
Oh.
Buller has the best of it.
Take that by queens?
I was going to go pro in Yahtzee, Alon, but I did poorly on the Wonderlic test.
It's been an up and down day for Buller. Right now finds himself at risk. Here's the flop. 7-4 deuce. Buller has to love that.
Buller with a double up in progress.
I suck.
And now the turn card. Oh, he sucks out. That jack puts Buller on the edge.
Yeah, now Buller needs a 2-outer to survive. He's got to have a queen.
River's another jack.
Yahtzee.
Buller got all his chips in good, but then got crushed by every jack in the deck. And he'll catch the first train back to Nebraska.
Well, if the turn didn't get Buller, the river was going to. I wonder if there's a World Series of Yahtzee main event.
All right, let's head back into the field right now. Prahlad Friedman is just a bystander as Kara Scott is all in. Kara with King Jack of Diamonds was called by Zsolt Ilosvai, who has King Queen of Spades.
Kara pushed all in with just 12 big blinds left.
The flop is 6-10-4. Ilosvai still ahead with a better kicker. Kara with a flush draw.
When your name is Kara Scott Chad, there's always hope.
Turn card now is a diamond, and she turns the flush to double up.
Last year, Argentinian Veronica Duboul became the first woman ever to cash in back-to-back main events. This year, Kara Scott Chad became the second woman to do it.
So Kara with a double up to $264,000.
Lady luck shines on my lady again. Boy, I'm glad my wife Tony doesn't watch these telecasts.
To one of the other remaining women in the field, Nicole Pepe, who flopped bottom two pair, contemplating a big re-raise from Tom Lutz, who has top pair with a straight draw.
I'm all in.
Pepe re-raises all in. And Lutz makes the quick call.
Straight down.
Nicole at risk and ahead.
Oh, this is a huge one. Holy buckets.
After the flop, these hands pretty much played themselves, and it has produced a massive pot. Nicole Pepe at risk.
Lutz, a poker pro that lives in Vegas. He's a 4 on the turn. He's still behind.
Well, right now, the poker pro from Long Beach, California, trying to hold on. Lutz can still knock out Pepe with a non-club Jack 10, 8, 6, or 4.
River card is a deuce, and Pepe will double up. That's the biggest pot we've seen in this main event, and it puts Pepe in second place with over 2.5 million chips.
Nicole Pepe Chad?
You are one fickle frontrunner, my friend. Back to table 2 now, where Antonio Esfandiari has a chance to take out one of the other women. Esfandiari with King Jack of Spades called the all-in of Becky Campbell, who's holding pocket nines.
Still smiling, baby. Good for you.
Campbell's nickname is Smiley.
Same deal goes. If 3 spades and I win the pot, I wash your car.
You want to knock me out?
Oh, just a king or a jack. I actually do.
You're a bad man, Antonio. The flop is queen, 4, 7, a couple of spades.
Looks like I'm washing your car.
Antonio now a favorite in the hand.
Campbell, a computer program from Louisiana, still with the best hand right now. Turn card, oh, is that spade? Get the sponge and bucket. Antonio knocks out Becky Campbell.
All right, I have to go to his house and wash his car.
It was nice playing with you.
Playing with you.
Why do the celebrities get all the hugs?
Don't I know it?
She gets the hug and almost $33,000.
I gave him, I told him I'd do it.
Verbal contract.
Verbal contract. If I don't do it in the next 6 months, I give you 10 grand.
That you want in writing.
He is the constant source of entertainment for the dealers and the crowd, but lately, Antonio has been working hard to get his poker skills to match his personality.
Well, if you must know, I hired a life coach. I have not been playing my best poker in the last few years. I just really haven't cared. I'll just sit here and kind of ride the coattails, you know? And I've been having an incredible amount of fun traveling all around the world, partying way more than I should.
How much do pants Mike?
But at the end of the day, I am a professional poker player, and I really should focus on my game. I get on the phone with my coach every morning. I basically have to do whatever he says. I'm in. I have to be in bed at a certain time before a tournament. I can't go out.
I would drink, but
If I break any of these certain rules, I have to pay Phil Locke a certain amount of money.
How can I do this?
Which would hurt me more than anything in the world.
You are a sick fucking
Just been in the zone the last 4 or 5 days. I am just so ready to win everything. It's like destiny, right? And I'm gonna win everything. I feel it. As Babe Ruth said it, what did he do? He went like this and knocked the ball out. The kid is back.
Antonio's drawn up the paperwork on that car washing deal. Esfandiari has struggled since winning his bracelet in 2004 with just 7 cashes in the last 5 World Series.
Back to the feature table now for the Jack Link's Beef Jerky wild card hand. Your chance to play along and guess what the concealed hole cards are. Tonight's celebrity guesser is Norman Chad. Pocket nines for Tyler Patterson.
Patterson, a former poker dealer, now a poker pro.
And he raises it to $26,000.
He's in middle position, so I'm going to put him on pocket nines.
Good guess, but that's not the guy we're working on. Randy Propson, he has the wild card hand.
I've got to delve into a Yahtzee mine, plus this guy claims he never works.
On the button.
Oh, that's true.
Propson, we'll just call.
Well, Propson is probably putting Patterson on a medium pair from middle position, so I think he would call with overcards, maybe king-queen suited more or less.
Small blind Jeff Shulman folded. Big blind ElkY Grospellier gets out of the way, so heads up. It'll be Patterson against the mystery cards of Randy Propson. Here's the flop. 4-8 queen. Any tells there?
Well, I think the queen hit Propson.
Patterson, no improvement to his pocket nines, bets 42,000.
I think Propson must be recalling something I said during the 2006 main event.
He makes the call.
It was quite fun.
It's a deuce.
If I'm Patterson, I'd worry about Propson's call on the flop. I don't know if my nines are good, but he's gonna bet again and find out if they are.
65,000 this time.
140.
Wow, on that board, Propson raises.
That raise would tell me I'm beat if I'm Patterson. I think Propson's got a queen with a good kicker. King, queen, maybe even ace, queen.
Tyler Patterson reaching for chips, so no fold here, just a call.
Patterson with a different read than me. What a surprise.
River card now. Tray of clubs.
That's a mishmash board. You know, if Propson's got ace, queen, or king, queen in his hand, he'd be very comfortable with that board.
Patterson slows down and checks.
165.
165,000 from Propson.
That feels like a value bet, Lon, like he's hoping a pocket pair will call him.
Patterson has called him down on the turn. Can he do it here on the river?
Well, he's getting 3.5 to 1 on a call here. It's tempting, especially against a Yahtzee professional, but it smells like top pair to me.
Patterson will give it up. Propson takes it.
Bertrand, you want to see this hand?
ElkY thinks it might be fishy.
Flip it up.
Pair of queens.
Ace queen, Lon. I am king of the world. I nailed another one.
Shows the ace queen of spades. He flopped top pair.
I showed the ace queen of spades. ElkY showed the ace queen of spades.
Hey, thanks, ElkY.
I nailed it.
Patterson gets a little help from ElkY on the Jack Link's Beef Jerky wild card hand, but Randy Propson gets the chips.
I really nailed it.
And he's over $1 million now. Welcome back to the Rio. Action continues here on day 5 of the main event. Back at our featured table, Jeff Shulman, hoping to make his second main event final table with pocket fours.
Shulman has cashed 4 times in the WPT Championship. That's a $25,000 buy-in event.
He raised it to 3 times the big blind to 30,000 on Grospellier, Jack 10 of hearts.
ElkY won a WPT title in 2008 worth $1.4 million. He also won a European Poker Tour title in 2008 worth $2 million.
Grospellier makes the call. He'll go heads up with Shulman. The flop is 4-8 king. That gets both. Shulman with a set of fours. Grospellier with a heart flush draw.
That's an action flop, Lon, like in the movies.
Shulman comes out with 60,000. Can't afford to slow play there.
Well, you may recall he did slow play a set against Andrew Black, but this is a different board, a flush draw out there, and a different opponent.
Grospellier will hang around. Turn card now. 2 of spades. Shulman still best.
And Jeff Shulman loves seeing that blank on the turn.
Slides out 120,000.
ElkY no longer getting the right price to call here. He's on the flush draw. But let's see if he runs through the stop sign on the pot odds.
ElkY's aggressive, but not usually reckless. It's too expensive, and ElkY lays it down. Shulman takes the pot.
Disciplined laydown from Grospellier.
Decides not to chase any longer, but not before giving up almost 100,000 chips to Shulman, who's now up to almost 580,000, which is still below the chip average in the room of about 700,000. Tom Schneider still the chip leader with 2.7 million. And there is our chip leader currently in a hand with Tahir Ali Sheikh after a flop of 5 tray 4. Ali Sheikh bet 220,000. Schneider folded, and Ali Sheikh will take that pot.
Schneider won 2 bracelets in 2007, but they were in stud and Omaha events. No limit hold'em, not his best game.
All right, at another table, another pro who's been deep before, Kenny Tran, in a hand with David Patton. The river card put a 3rd heart on the board.
I don't know, Kenny. You either got me crushed, because you actually hit it.
My money's on Kenny Tran, particularly if it's a cash game.
Kenny bet 45,000. Patton makes the call. Kenny shows the nut flush for the victory.
No, I put my hand face up and then he would count.
Kenny Tran making his 2nd deep run in the main event in 3 years.
He finished 16th in 2007. To another pro still left in the field with ace-king Joe Seabach just raised all in against John Lou pre-flop with queen 7 of hearts.
Lou owns a nail salon in Los Angeles.
And he's your kind of guy. He's a once-a-week league bowler.
172 more.
I love bowlers. Lou getting more than 2-1 on a call here, and he can afford it.
He does make the call. He has Joe covered, so Seebach at risk, but ahead.
Seebach would have preferred if Lou had laid that one down.
I like seeing that better than King's Races.
So here we go to the flop. Seebach at risk 6-5-4. Seebach's best, but Lou with an up and down straight draw.
Yeah, Seebach hates seeing that. He's got to fade a lot of cards now.
Turn card pairs Lou. Seebach in big trouble.
Well, if a 3 or 8 comes, they'll split the pot with a straight on the board. Seebach can win it outright with an ace or a king. Otherwise, he's gone.
River card. Oh, it's the king! Just in time to keep Joe Seebach in the room.
Well, there was no reason for Joe Seebach to start putting his backpack on. That's a losing mentality. Joe, you're a winner. You won the pot. Act the part.
So Joe Seebach went all in with ace-king, and he's kissing that king. That's what doubled him up.
That was about as almost as you can get.
Well, Joe will get to keep his seat and a few more chips, but still below average with a lot of work to do. Let's head back to table 2, where we find Antonio Esfandiari in a battle of the blinds with Daryl Jace. Antonio leads with king 4 against Jace's 5, tray of hearts going to the flop. The flop is ace 7-8, all spades. Esfandiari picks up a flush draw.
How come Antonio's not promising to wash this dealer's car if he hits a flush?
Antonio bets 42,000.
Antonio on the draw. Jace has no draw.
But he's got chips and he's bluffing at it, a raise to 92,000.
Wow, the 21-year-old comes over the top with squad douche.
And Esfandiari won't be pushed around.
Still, Antonio might be thinking, oops, I don't have a hand yet.
Turn card, now he has a hand. Antonio with the nut flush. Antonio with the check mark, bets 115,000.
Antonio gets there and he doesn't slow down. Well, the good news for Jace is that he's picked up a straight draw. The bad news is it's meaningless.
And he's going to call for 115,000.
Jace says he learned to play poker by watching TV and reading books. It looks like he learned by watching me.
The river card, king of clubs. Esfandiari already with the check mark.
Antonio, getting short on chips, can either go all in here or check to see if Jace makes a play for the pot.
Antonio chooses shove.
And an immediate fold from Daryl Jace. The all-in ended his charade.
Antonio should be washing Daryl Jace's car. He takes a nice pot.
Now we can start playing a little poker, boys.
Well, whatever Antonio's been playing up till now, it's working.
The World Series of Poker Main Event.
Back inside the Rio, let's check in on Dennis Phillips, who's in a hand right now with Blair Hinkle. Phillips checked a King Tray flop. Action on Hinkle, the Kansas City poker pro. Thinks about it, bets 23,000.
You know, there is room on the back of Dennis's cap for my autograph.
That is true. Dennis raises, makes it 40,000 more.
Dennis Phillips with the check raise, which usually signals a hand.
Hinkle knows that as well and lays it down.
Dennis is still technically a commercial trucking manager. I guess he just acts like he's a poker pro.
Dennis approaching 900,000. Blair and his brother Grant won bracelets last year. We've seen a lot of brothers in this main event. JC's brother Hen played but did not cash. JC just moved all in against Nasser El Nasser. JC will not be knocked out here as El Nasser folds. JC takes that pot. He's hanging around, got almost 390,000 chips. But there are still two brothers left in the field. The Bilzerians seated next to each other still. Dan on the right, currently a bystander, is Adam contemplating the all-in of Jesse Chinney. Chinney's kings are crushing Adam's sixes, but Adam makes the call.
Yeah, bad call. Bilzerian looking for a 6.
River card is a queen, and Chinney will win and double up to Adam Bilzerian.
Chinney's a University of Maryland grad, Lon. We are smarter than we look.
I thought it's yours.
All right, gentlemen, new dealer coming in.
The older brother putting the younger brother in his proper place.
You get the feeling these two would sell the other to win this tournament. We asked several players what they would be willing to give up to win the main event, which we delve further into in this edition of The Nuts.
What would I give up to win the main event?
What would I give up?
That's actually a really hard question.
I would give up ice cream. And I love ice cream.
Chocolate, coffee. No, I don't know.
I would give up poker for life. I would switch to like the World Series of Go Fish.
I'd give up my firstborn son to win that again. I don't have any kids, so that's easy for me to do.
Would you go to hell for a bracelet? I would.
I would give up sex for a while.
Wow, he's committed.
1 month, one lonely month.
That's not giving up sex. That's just like a normal month for most humans.
I'd give up my girlfriend for sure.
That's a joke. Don't you put that on there.
You know, I don't think I'd cut off any body parts.
Your ring finger doesn't come in that handy.
I would give up my pinky toe. I would give up the money.
The money.
Give me the bracelet, give me the title, give me history.
I'd give up the bracelet. I'm a poker purist. I'm after the cash.
I don't want to give anything up. I want to earn it the good old-fashioned way. I want to do it on my own.
Norman, I'm wondering, what would you give up to have Phil Ivey win the big one?
Well, I inadvertently gave up sex a number of years ago. That should be good enough.
Thanks, Norman. Too much information. Action folded over to ElkY Grospellier. ElkY looks down at King, Queen of Clubs.
Grospellier lived in Korea as a pro gamer and says Koreans couldn't pronounce his first name, so he adopted ElkY.
ElkY with a raise to 25,000.
I can't pronounce either of his names.
Folded to Randy Propson, 5 tray of hearts in the big blind.
Propson says poker is like life. Smart people win and stupid people lose.
He calls for 15,000. Is that smart or stupid with 5 tray? We'll see. 7, Queen 6, Grospellier with a pair of queens and a flush draw. Propson with a gut shot.
Check.
Randy checks.
That's about the 11th or 12th best possible flop for ElkY's hand.
And ElkY will bet 33,000 with that draw.
We'll see if Propson is smart or stupid.
He calls.
Well, he looks like he might be trying to get cute with his 5 tray down the road.
And it's another club. Grospellier hits his flush. Propson wondering why he played 5 tray. He checks again.
Well, the check is smart. Now, that's not the best turn card for ElkY Lon. The ace of clubs, for instance, would have been better, but it's still a good one.
And he bets 57,000 with it.
This is not a good time for my Yahtzee man to get cute. Be smart.
You look hungry.
Randy saw something in Grospellier's face and folds.
Look.
You want to use your button?
No, I don't care. Hurry up. Come on, we got hands to play, man. What's wrong with you?
Actually, a lot has been going wrong for ElkY today, but perhaps the tide is turning back in his favor.
The World Series of Poker, presented by Jack Link's Beef Jerky. Main event.
Back inside the Rio, where action continues at our featured table. Jeff Shulman having a slow and steady day 5 so far. The same cannot be said for ElkY Grospellier. Lost quite a bit of his stack, but still in decent shape. Action on Sam Edwards on the Jack Link's Beef Jerky pocket cam. Queen, Jack of Hearts.
I don't know if he's eating, chewing gum, or chewing his own cud, but you really shouldn't raise with that much lower jaw activity going on.
He does raise to 30,000. Action on Jeff Shulman on the button. With pocket aces, you love to see those on day 5.
That's a steady chew.
A nice little bit there.
Shulman's going to re-raise it to 100,000.
Jeff Shulman cranks it up.
In the small blind, ElkY with pocket 9s.
You know, ElkY's itching to play, but Shulman has not played many hands today, and his re-raise might tell ElkY he's got a bigger pocket pair.
And a good lay down, but a tough one for ElkY. Now back to the 24-year-old chewer.
Yeah, okay, son, do you want to chew or do you want to play? You can't do both.
Edwards will lay it down. And Shulman will take that pot after his big re-raise.
Even in a somewhat unsightly striped shirt, Shulman somehow looks intimidating.
Well, Jeff has almost doubled his chip stack on this day 5. ElkY's still wondering if his laydown of the pocket 9s was the right laydown, but he did pick up some signs from Jeff and got out of the hand. All right, we continue action here at the featured table on Randy Propson. Pocket 6s.
He spent one summer working at a steel mill and seems intent on never working again.
And he's going to raise it to 30,000, 3 times the big blind. Shulman coming off pocket aces, queen tray. He won't play that.
Shulman kind of works for a living. He publishes Card Player.
ElkY with queen 4. He lays it down. Rolf Slotboom, a 35-year-old Amsterdam poker pro with ace-queen.
Are they drilling for uranium somewhere nearby?
He moves all in for his last 138,000 chips. Back to Propson.
All right, I'm going to gamble.
He's going to call that re-raise.
I hope I have you dominated in some way. No domination.
Slotboom at risk.
We're going to need some picture cards.
2 of the queens already gone. That's why Slotboom is only 37%.
Lots of aces and queens, man. Okay, concentrate. Aces and queens. We need aces and queens.
Flop, 5 trays 7.
Ooh, that's not very high.
Slotboom's nickname is Ace, and he'd love to see one.
Turn card now.
Concentrate, man. Aces and queens, you can do it.
9 of diamonds.
Jeez. Are there picture cards in the deck? Let's try to peel out an ace or a queen. Come on, man. It's aces or queens?
7 of clubs. No picture cards for Slotboom. Propson knocks out the Amsterdam pro.
It is Slotboom's 3rd straight main event cash.
Slotboom's a former dealer himself. He tried to give this dealer all the advice he could, but came up short.
Well, if it's sunny and snowing outside, he seems pretty well prepared for it.
So another pot for Randy Propson, who after losing a few chips to ElkY earlier, is now approaching 1 million chips once again. Back to the field, where Kara Scott and her pocket aces are poised to eliminate Bob Loria, holding ace king of clubs. Loria, a poker pro from Norwich, Connecticut, has cashed in the main event 3 of the last 4 years. The flop is queen 10-9. Loria with flush and straight draws.
She's still smiling, but those pocket aces are in danger.
You gotta be kidding me.
Turn card now is a club, and Loria hits his flush. He'll double up.
Pocket aces again cracked at the main event.
Kara Scott being Loria's benefactor at this table.
Well, I'm going to have to talk to somebody about getting Kara Scott Chad some more chips.
She is under 100,000 right now. Back to Dan Harrington. He's facing a raise from Eric Cloutier. Dan with a nut flush draw trails Cloutier, who flopped a pair of kings.
I'm all in.
Dan is going to gamble.
With 40 big blinds left, Harrington decides to make a stand with his draw.
Cloutier makes the call to put the 95 champ at risk.
And one of the greatest main event performers ever could be staring at his last hand this year. 5 times Action Dan has finished 17th or better at the main event.
He's going to need to improve here to stay alive. Turn card now. Tray of diamonds. Action Dan needs some help.
And Dan Harrington now has to have a club on the river.
The river card is a 7 of spades. That won't do it. Dan Harrington knocked out by Eric Cloutier.
Yeah, I was hoping you didn't have the ace with the king.
Dan finishes in 252nd place. Will win almost $33,000. The former minor league hockey player shoots and scores a big knockout in this main event as Dan Harrington leaves to a nice and well-deserved round of applause.
The World Series of Poker, presented by Jack Link's Beef Jerky. Main event.
Welcome back to the Rio. There is the bracelet that will be awarded on November 10th to the main event champion, ElkY Grospellier, one of the top pros still in the field, hoping that will be his first World Series bracelet. Jeff Shulman is another, and in fact, there's a lot of players in the field who have had main event success, as we see on our FullTiltPoker.net tournament ticker. 11 have finished in the top 20 of the main event, 4 have made final tables, and 2 past champions are still alive, including the defending champ Peter Eastgate, who's looking to add more chips here. He called the all-in of Bruce Peary. Eastgate's flush is way ahead.
Peary went to the University of Tennessee with Chris Moneymaker. They lived in the same frat house. He needs a queen or 5 here.
River card is a deuce of spades. Eastgate will win it with his flush. Bruce Peary knocked out in 250th place.
And Lon, Peter Eastgate, hanging around, and finally picking up some chips.
Finally over $1 million from the youngest main event winner to the youngest Academy Award nominee ever, Justin Henry, all in.
The hand that gets knocked out most, I think, is queen.
Justin and I are on the same page. I'm not even an actor.
His ace-queen dominated by Sean Nolan's ace-king. And here's the flop. And there's a queen for Henry.
Good news for the dreaded ace-queen.
Turn card. Tray of clubs. Henry with a flush draw, taking one of Nolan's outs.
So Nolan now needs a non-club king or jack to eliminate Justin Henry.
River card is an 8 of diamonds, and so his ace-queen comes through when he needed it most. Nolan doubles up Henry.
Still breathing. Still breathing.
He's got chips, but still well short of the chip average of about 800,000. Phil Ivey contemplating an all-in from Mads Anderson, who flopped a pair of sixes. Ivey with 2 sevens, but this is for most of Ivey's chips.
Anderson pushed with 15, 16 big blinds left. Tough call with middle pair, and Ivey doesn't have that many chips left to work with.
All right, I call it.
And Phil does make it.
All in.
Anderson shows sixes. Ivey ahead with the sevens.
Yeah, Phil, you're ahead. Wow. Now let's just hold it and start building up that chip stack again. But if Phil gets unlucky here, he will be decimated.
All right, turn card with Anderson at risk is a 9. Anderson with a gut shot straight draw. That gets Phil's attention.
So now Anderson needs a 6, 10, or 8 to stick around.
The river card is a 5 of spades, and Anderson will lose all his chips to Phil Ivey.
I think Phil was feeling a little pressure that time. I know he doesn't sweat, but he saw his life and my life flashing in front of him. I don't think other players should ever be allowed to touch Phil Ivey.
Now to Joe Seebach, who's facing an all-in from Ashley Chung after the flop. Chung with pocket 10s, Seebach pocket jacks, 2 queens on board. And Seebach will make that call. Chung at risk and behind.
Well, Joe Seebach's an honorary member of Team Chad, so we got to root for him too.
All right, turn card is a 7 of clubs. No help to Chung.
Ashley Chung needs a 10 or his main event is over.
River card is another queen, and Joe Seebach will win it with a better full house.
Seebach, another player just hanging around and finally picking up some chips.
Now we're rolling, baby. Now we got a game. We got no chance to shoot. I know. Where are you going? Whoa, 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 whoa. Where are you going? Can I petition? Where's Polanski? Get Pollock in here. Let's keep you here.
Joe has won some key pots with that dealer today. This is his first big World Series showing in a couple of years, as his attention and time have been focused elsewhere.
I love playing poker, but there's so much more to life than playing poker. So I just decided to start up Poker Road. We want to take people inside the world of professional poker in a different way.
Only I can get married to have a glass of wine.
I get to basically run a company with a bunch of my friends, you know, and my dad, which is an amazing situation. Sadly, it's definitely affected my game, there's no question. There's pre-Poker Road Seebach, we got some final tables, and then there's post-Poker Road Seebach. I think you have a shot, and then here, clip. You have to fight to focus when you have these other things going on. If I'm not playing poker, I'm talking about it or doing something with the radio show. I'm getting texts every 5 seconds. I'm getting phone calls. People are coming up to me. What do we do about this? What do we do about this? This happened. You just kind of have to try to draw that line, and then just when you're playing, you know, and I've had a hard time doing it.
You just have to persevere. Occasionally you'll win one.
It's probably one of those things at some point I'll have to decide, you know, hey, I want to be a poker player, or hey, I want to be a business person. Up until now, I haven't had to. But during the main event, I've told people, look, if you come up and you ask me a question about Poker Road, I'm going to punch you in the face. And that goes true for Barry, too.
PokerRoad.com is a very entertaining website, and the bear, Barry Greenstein, actually works for the Cub, Joe, in that business venture.
Let's go to table 2 right now. Antonio Esfandiari enjoying his first deep run in the main event. Also, right now, action is on Kevin O'Donnell. O'Donnell, a restaurant owner in Scottsdale, Arizona, with ace-jack of clubs.
O'Donnell does quite well here at the World Series. 10 career cashes, his second deep run in the main event in the last 4 years.
He's going to raise it up to 29,000. Antonio, 10-7 off.
You know, Kevin O'Donnell might be a good life coach for Antonio.
Antonio lays it down on Lou Diamond Phillips with pocket sixes.
I think Mr. Phillips and myself both could use a life coach when it comes to the matrimonial area.
He calls for 29,000, and he will go heads up against O'Donnell, who finished 21st in the 06 main event. Lou enjoying his first main event cash. There's the flop. It is 6-7 ace, a set of sixes for Lou, and potential disaster for O'Donnell as he paired his ace. O'Donnell comes out with 52,000 with his pair of aces.
Well, 52,000 seems like a good bet, but O'Donnell is crushed.
Lou Diamond Phillips with the 3 sixes raises to 125,000.
O'Donnell's got to figure out if LDP, the actor, is pretending to show strength. We know he is strong.
I don't think I have the best hand, sir.
That's a savvy restaurateur.
He folds.
I'll tell you right now, you don't have the best hand. Oh.
That was the best hand. Phillips over 400,000, but still a lot of work to be done.
Change of underwear, please.
The main event can be stressful. Antonio knows that. Some just handle the pressure better than others.
The 2009 World Series of Poker is presented by Jack Link's Beef Jerky. Feed your wild side. And in part by WSOP.com. Get official items for your home poker game at WSOP.com. And PokerStars.net, the world's largest poker site.
Back to the Rio, Matt Affleck is once again the chip leader, but how about Nicole Pepe in second place? Quite an impressive run today. Some other notable names, Peter Eastgate's title defense has a lot of life to it. Joe Hashem and Phil Ivey still very much alive. And there is Affleck, who appears to be rather ho-hum about it all.
I feel badly that the chip lead and the chance for an $8.5 million first prize are boring Matt Affleck to death.
Both of his cashes came in this 2009 World Series. Over to another one of the bigger stacks in the room, Dan Bilzerian, who's been moved from his brother Adam's table, but now seated with Joe Hashem. Currently both in a five-way pot after the turn. Action on Tommy Vitas. After three others checked, he comes out with $49,000. Joe Hashem lays it down.
Hashem preaches patience at the main event, and he practices what he preaches.
Jose Gomez says no thanks. Dan Bilzerian folds, as does Mihail Stoikov. Vitas shows ace high.
Vitas, originally from Queens, New York, now lives in Las Vegas. He just looks like he should be living in Queens or Las Vegas.
He'll stack those new chips. He made one final table at this year's World Series. Joe Hashem below chip average, but he knows how to pace himself in the big one. Over now to a very short stack, Kara Scott. She's all in.
Kara all in? No, 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 no.
All right, let's go.
Paul Barron's going to call her down with rags.
Really? I can't do it.
Scott at risk.
This fella's trying to knock out my girl with 5 trey.
My highest card.
No bad beat.
I have a sweat. Just put like 4, 6 of diamonds.
And the flop. Oh, and there's a 5 for Barron to lead.
They did.
Turn is another 5, and that will end it. Kara Scott is gone.
I am crestfallen.
No, we couldn't do quads. That's a shame.
Kara Scott gone in 238th place.
You do not knock out Kara Scott, Chad, without answering to me. Let's run a check on his plates.
Good luck, everyone.
Didn't really want to happen that way.
104th last year, 238th this time around. She's a player.
And she's a pretty good poker broadcaster over in England. See you at home. I've got to give her my address.
Back to the featured table now. Action is on Jeff Shulman.
I believe Jeff Shulman's beard has thickened significantly during day 5.
8 tray, and he will not play that. I guess he only plays aces. ElkY Grospellier. Pocket aces.
Pocket aces could give ElkY a jump start finally.
A raise to $25,000. ElkY is originally from France, now lives in London. Patrick Hanato, also from France, with ace queen.
Ace queen's a loser in any nation.
A re-raise to $64,000.
Oh, this is setting up nicely for ElkY.
Tyler Patterson with pocket 10s. And he's going to re-raise to $175. ElkY's got to be drooling.
It's now a Midsummer Night's Dream for ElkY.
I'm all in.
Yep, that's the play, all in.
C4 is all in.
And Hanato's got to realize these guys are playing in a different league.
With ace queen, he'll fold. Up to Patterson.
It would be wise for Patterson to fold.
I call.
He does not. He calls with his 10s, and he'll be in trouble.
I guess it's possible ElkY had ace-king in that spot. Otherwise, Patterson was buried by a bigger pocket pair.
And this is the big pot that ElkY's been craving all day. His aces against the 10s.
ElkY about to get a really nice gift, unless he gets unlucky.
The flop now. Queen, 6 tray. ElkY's aces are still best.
You can start wrapping that gift. Patterson's down to a 2-outer now. He needs a 10.
Turn card now. Is a king, no help to Patterson.
ElkY in great shape here to double up. Patterson needs a 10 and a 10 only to knock out Bertrand Grospellier.
The river card is a 6, and Grospellier does double up.
ElkY is back in business big time.
He started this day 5 with almost 1.3 million chips, and after losing more than half of it, ElkY has come all the way back. The payouts are over $36,000 right now. The blind 6 and $12,000 with a 2,000 chip ante. Action is folded over to Francois Baumegere. He gives it up. Now to Randy Propson, our Yahtzee savant on the Jack Link's Beef Jerky Pocket Cam 10-9 of clubs.
I've warmed up to him. He says he's not a poker pro. He's just going to play until he goes broke.
37.
He's going to raise it up to 37,000 with the suited connectors. Shulman lays it down. There is an empty seat here, and it looks like it's going to be filled by Joe Hashem.
You know, it's like at title fights, the champion always enters the ring last.
Over to ElkY Grospellier. Ace-8 offsuit in the big blind.
And he's wondering if he's in the mood to dance with Propson.
ElkY accepts the invitation.
I think Hashem's trying to sneak up on the table, and then he'll shout, Aussie, Aussie, Aussie.
The flop is 10-6. Propson picks up a pair of 10s. ElkY missed that flop. ElkY with ace-high checks. Propson with his 2 10s checks.
I might have bet there if I was Propson.
Turn card is a king. Grospellier gets no help.
See, if a high card pops out on the turn, you don't know if it hit your opponent. I would have tried to end the hand on the flop.
ElkY checked it. Propson bets about half the pot, 42,000.
ElkY senses he has company.
Hey, Joel.
He should be worried about Joe. He should be focusing on folding his hand.
He makes the call.
Oh.
I wonder if he's distracted. River card now is another deuce, so Propson with 10s and deuces gets the check mark. ElkY checks a third time. Propson with 3 green chips, that's 75,000.
I disagree with Propson again. I would have checked there. If ElkY pops it, what are you going to do?
ElkY thinking about it. And ElkY just with a call.
Boy, ElkY thinking that Propson was posturing, thought his ace-high might be good enough. The Yahtzee guys, it turns out, was smarter than me. Then again, I set a low bar. Oh, apparently Joe was waiting to be introduced before he sat down.
Hey, guys.
Standard poker etiquette.
What are you bringing us today, Mr. Hashem?
Nearly 700.
This table just got a lot stronger. What was already a tough group to beat now has a former world champ at center stage.
Norman, through the years, we have grown accustomed to the abundance of unknown names that are left at this stage of the main event. But as we look around this room and the list of household names still remaining, it's pretty impressive.
Ivey, ElkY, Hashem, Eastgate, and a bunch of other big names who will never invite me over to their house. It's been 8 years since an established pro won the main event, and I am ready to guarantee this is the year it will happen again. Probably. Well, maybe. Okay, maybe not. But boy, it would be kind of cool.
In this day and age, it's hard to imagine anyone winning a second main event title, but Joe and anyone like ElkY seeking their first does have a shot. Right now, everyone looking up to Tom Schneider as he nears 3 million chips. Some other notable names include Dennis Phillips with 1.1 million and Phil Ivey with about half that. Chip average currently 847,000. There is Phil Ivey, who began day 5 with almost 1.3 million. He's in a hand with Charles Clark after the river, 2 8s, 2 7s, and a jack on the board, and Ivey just bet 40,000. Clark makes the call. Ivey hit jacks up on the river, and he'll take that pot.
Ivey was down to 200,000 plus chips, and I was teetering emotionally, but Phil has stopped the bleeding.
This is Phil's 4th main event cash. Chip leader Tom Schneider has been put to a decision by Dan Bilzerian, who bet 135,000 after a flop of Queen 9 Jack all hearts.
Bilzerian is an adrenaline junkie, says his life is like summer break that never ends. I think Schneider cuts a more conservative figure than Dan.
Schneider, with all those chips, certainly can afford it, but decides to lay it down. So Bilzerian shows just a 3 of diamonds. I guess he didn't have the flush.
That was a good one. Bilzerian enjoys the moment, and Tom Schneider will wait for another moment.
Let's catch up with the defending champ. We've seen Peter Eastgate all in a number of times. At this time, he has Kyle Bowker on the verge of elimination. Peter has Kyle dominated. Here's the flop. 10-9 Jack. Both pair their Jack. Bowker picked up a straight draw. Turn card now is an 8, and Bowker hits his queen high straight.
Bowker will survive his all-in. A queen would put a straight on the board and chop the pot.
River card is another 8, and Bowker will double up. Peter's not going away mad. The room's going on break, so he's just trying to beat the traffic, but there is one table still playing. At table 2, Antonio Esfandiari trying to figure out what to do with his pocket queens and opponent Andreas Flocksta after a harmless flop. Flocksta holds 2 8s. Antonio will bet it. That's 89,000.
Flocksta, 21 years old, was studying for a master's in computer engineering, but is switching to medicine.
And he does call. Turn card now is a tray. That's a 3rd heart. Both with flush draws. Antonio's is better, and he checks.
Antonio's a little wary now.
Flocksta checks as well. River card now is a 5 of clubs. Antonio Esfandiari with the check mark. Antonio will bet 175,000.
Antonio is comfortable again.
Flogstad backed into a corner, lashes out with all that he's got left.
Lon, what is it about the Scandinavian Peninsula? Naked aggression again. Flogstad knows he's beat and he pushes it all in, and he has put Esfandiari to the test. This would be for almost all of Antonio's chips, and he's just got the pocket queens.
You want me to call?
He wants you to call for dinner reservations if you're buying, but right here he wants you to fold.
Yes, no, maybe?
Definitely not yes or maybe. Flogstad trying to scallywag Esfandiari.
A big moment for Antonio, and he lays it down. Yeah, and Flogstad shows the bluff.
And now that Antonio sees it, he'll have to stew over that one for a while. Flogstad pulls off the high-risk heist.
Nice hand.
Antonio not willing to risk giving up that many chips. That win would have vaulted him into the upper reaches of the leaderboard, but now left with a below-average chip stack.
The 2009 World Series of Poker is presented by Jack Link's Beef Jerky. Feed your wild side. And in part by WSOP.com. Sign up for the official WSOP e-newsletter at WSOP.com and FullTiltPoker.net. Learn, chat, and play with the pros. The World Series of Poker Main Event.
Welcome back to the Rio and our featured table. New arrival Joseph Hashim is ready to play. Hashim will have position on and provide a little extra competition for ElkY, Grospellier, Jeff Shulman, and the others.
So ElkY, me here sitting next to you, it's like ebony and ivory.
Yeah, but I guarantee you, ElkY is not a natural blonde.
Action will begin on Brent Catalano, a poker pro from Atlanta. Pocket queens.
Catalano used to be a structural engineer. That is an engineer that deals with structures.
I thought we solved this problem of yours last time I was here, Brent.
30. Joe not fond of his big blind being raised.
Catalano did raise it up to 30,000 on Randy Propson with a couple of fours.
When Propson plays Yahtzee, he is known as tight aggressive.
He makes the call with the fours.
Jeff Shulman has never played Yahtzee because he is allergic to dice.
He folds his king deuce.
One time, every time, one time.
Jack 9 of hearts.
Hey, Jeff, I didn't see you there, man.
How's it going?
And Hashim makes the call from the big blind.
Hashim makes chit-chat and defends his blind.
One time, every time, Dylan.
3 players to
one
the
more
flop.
time.
8 ace queen, couple of hearts. Catalano with a set, almost a one-time for Joe. He picked up a straight flush draw.
Okay. Woo woo!
And he checks.
He checked, but he adjusts his chair. When you adjust your chair, you usually have a big draw.
Catalano checked his queens. Propson bet 75,000. Thinks he can buy it. Joe comes along.
When you cover your face with dark blue sweats, you usually have a hand.
And a big hand he does. All in for 229,000.
I was just kidding.
It is set up perfectly for Catalano.
Working on.
Hashim's getting the right price to call.
It's all right, I call.
And he does. Can't lay down a straight flush draw, Norman.
Oh, no. You've got straight possibilities, flush possibilities, and the elusive straight flush possibility. Why do you think I'm standing, Lon?
The good news is I was dead.
Catalano all in, has to dodge a lot of outs.
Have any hearts?
Hashim looking to hit one of his draws. Turn card. Tray of spades, Catalano still ahead.
Hashim needs a 10 or any heart that doesn't pair the board to knock out Brent Catalano.
The river card is a jack, and Catalano survives that dicey moment and doubles up.
Nice hand, Brent.
154.
Welcome to the table, Mr. Hashim.
The 05 world champ was looking for some more one-time magic, but no straight or flush on the river.
Welcome to the table.
None of his draws hit, but Joe knows there's a big difference between calling with a draw and making a move with a draw, as we find out in Straight from the Pros, brought to you by PokerStars.net. In the 2007 main event, Joe found himself in a hand against Thomas Beal and Jim Cleveborg, who were seated to his right.
I was on the button. It had been called early, raised in middle, and I called with 3-4 of clubs. For my position and my chip stack, calling a small raise is a smart thing to do with that sort of hand because it's easy to bust somebody if they've got a big hand. So the flop comes ace-2 of clubs. I've got a straight flush draw. Gets checked. The pre-flop raiser bets 800 and I decide to raise it up. I'm going to raise. To define the hands that are out there. And if I get called, I still have position on the turn. The pocket sevens of the first guy fold. The young guy thinks about it for a while with his kings, but it felt to him that he was beat. He folded, and I politely took the pot. My raise on the flop is a semi-bluff. If he does call, A, I've got position, B, I've got the draw, so I can decide then on the turn whether I'm going to continue betting. Poker is about position. I used my position really well at that point.
Joe not having the best of moments right now with just over 430,000 chips. He's down for the day after losing that last hand and well below the chip average of 866,000 with just 225 players remaining. Tom Schneider is still the chip leader. Meanwhile, out in the field, one of the larger stacks in the room, Nicole Pepe has a decision to make against Warren Zaki of South Africa, who just bet 400,000 after the river.
I don't know why I feel like the bluffing.
Zaki owns a plumbing supply company.
I call.
Nicole makes the call. Zaki shows top pair, top kicker.
Nice answer.
And Nicole sees a lot of her chips.
Don't say it, don't say
go down the drain.
I asked you not to say it.
I do apologize. With 1.6 million chips, Nicole leads the three women who are left in the main event. Another one right there, Leo Margetts of Spain lays her hand down.
Margetts used to work in sports marketing.
And there is Estelle Denny of Paris, France, who's in the hand right now with JC Tran. JC just bet 32,000 pre-flop. Denis moves all in for her last 142.
Mes cartes.
Norman, it appears the dealer just pulled her cards into the muck.
Oh, wow.
Did you protect your cards? I don't know.
I'm all in.
Okay, well, I swept in your cards.
Stop right here. Don't do anything for right now.
Huh?
Don't do anything just now.
Okay.
Are those our two cards on top of that pile? Don't touch them. I just said don't do anything.
Yeah.
Thank
Tell
you.
me what they were.
Get your hand away from them,
Okay.
please.
I give you my card.
I'm going to get somebody over
This is
here.
unusual. Denis went all in. The dealer, though, killed her hand, putting her cards into the muck. I think her hand might be dead.
JC and everyone certainly feels for her, but there's nothing they can do.
I think she's telling the floor supervisor what her cards were. If they can retrieve the cards she said she had from the top of the muck, they apparently will allow her to continue.
Well, I guess those weren't her cards.
The dealer made a mistake, but it's the player's responsibility to protect their hand.
Very good argument for card protectors. And she stands by helplessly.
I think Estelle Denny is going to get bad news.
Yeah, you guess you get that. Your hand is dead because those were...
Her hand is dead.
Okay, am I finished the hand?
That is unfortunate. It is ugly for Estelle Denny, but it's by the book.
Yeah, you finished with the hand. You get these chips back, but those are...
Denis will have to forfeit the 32,000 that called JC's bet, but will get 110,000 back that she raised all in. Her table mates can only watch in bewilderment.
It's a joke.
Estelle taking it better than most would.
I had two aces.
Oh my goodness.
Pocket aces she says she had. She had pushed all in, and a dealer error is going to cost her.
Well, we see something new every year at the World Series of Poker. All in, seemingly with aces, and now her hand is dead. Unfortunately for Denny, this is one of the toughest rulings she'll ever have to live with.
The World Series of Poker, presented by Jack Link's Beef Jerky. Main event.
Welcome back to the Rio Poker Room. Action underway at the featured table. Jeff Shulman raised pre-flop with ace-king. Sar Wilf from Israel re-raised all in with king-queen. Shulman called for 221,000 more, and Wilf got no help on the flop.
Wilf moved all in with 20 big blinds left.
A king on the turn pairs both players, but Wilf is now down to his last shot.
Wilf will need a queen, and a queen only, or he is done.
River card is a 7 of clubs, and Jeff Shulman will win the hand and eliminate Sar Wilf. He'll take home almost $37,000.
Jeff Shulman has been playing it pretty close to the vest. He's pretty much stayed out of harm's way.
Right now, about 230,000 below chip average. To the field tables we go and catch up with pro Prahlad Friedman. Both he and his opponent Zolt Ilosfly have Jack 10 offsuit. After the flop, Friedman bet 75,000. Ilosfly then shoved for 182,000 more, and Prahlad now makes the call.
This will be a chopped pot unless the Hungarian gets running spades.
Give me a club. Anything.
Turn card now is a club, and so they will split the pot.
I don't think that hand is going to be worthy of a wrap. At least I hope not.
Looks like Prahlad was sweating that all-in decision, but he gets away unharmed. over to Joe Seabach's table. After the turn, Kevin O'Malley bet 80,000 with kings up. Seabach has a straight flush draw, and Joe will make the call.
Another straight flush draw? You're just teasing me, Lon.
All right, the river card now. Well, it's not a straight flush, but Seabach hits his flush, gets the check mark.
I'm all in.
And Joe bets enough to put O'Malley all in.
The Cleveland insurance executive with a tough decision. Most pros will tell you you're okay until you're down to 20 big blinds. If O'Malley folds here, he'd be left with 25 big blinds.
O'Malley makes the call. And he will go out of this tournament holding pocket kings.
A brutal way to end your main event. O'Malley's pocket kings get beat by the 7-6 there of Seabach and some running clubs.
O'Malley takes home almost 37,000. Joe Seabach now over 1 million, trying to maximize his first main event cash. Joe discussing the hand right now with his cousin, Mike Lynn, who's seated right next to him. As we have seen in this main event, poker can be a family affair. There is Adam Bilzerian, who was sitting next to his brother Dan earlier in the day. He turns over Broadway, and that will eliminate Donald Crabtree. So Adam Bilzerian cruising along, moving up in chips. His brother, Dan Bilzerian, has a tough decision right now against Tom Schneider, who bet $135,000 on the river.
These Bilzerian brothers are quite a story. There's Venus and Serena, Peyton and Eli, now Adam and Dan.
Dan makes that call, and Tom Schneider will get a little stronger. He's going to win it with trip jacks, and it looks like the Bilzerian brothers are heading in opposite directions at the moment, and that really is nothing new with these two.
Oh, by the way, I taught him poker. I want that.
We touched on that. Thank you.
Did you? Okay. Where were we at? He loves me and I hate him. No, I'm kidding.
It's a love-hate relationship. We fought a lot as kids. When we had some space, we kind of we bonded more and we came pretty close.
It's a liar and a weasel, bro.
He's more of a steady winner. I'm gonna be more of a yo-yo.
You're kind of a bad player. I mean, not like horrible, but just kind of bad. We both like to win, and we hate losing more than anything else in the world. Oh my God.
I'm definitely better than him.
The Donkey Brothers calling with the ace jack.
We definitely give each other, a fair amount of but at the end of the day, we're still rooting for each other.
These brothers are men of extremes. Dan trained to be a Navy SEAL, while Adam renounced his U.S. citizenship.
Back to the feature table for the Jack Link's Beef Jerky wildcard hand. Action will start on the poker coach from Toulouse, France, Francois Balmigère, and he does have the wildcard hand.
He is in what is called the hijack position. That's one to the right of the cutoff, which is one to the right of the button. Frankly, some poker lingo I could do without, but that is what it is.
A raise to 31,000.
Well, from the hijack, I'm going to put him on a steal, Jack 9 off.
Asham in the big blind.
Why does the price go up for my blind? Their blind, it was 30, mine is 31.
You stole my blind before.
Did I? Oh, yes, I did too, right, okay. Yeah, there's a profit.
Asham calls.
Joe gets a little prickly when his blind is raised.
So these two heads up to the flop. 10-5 deuce, Hashem with a pair of fives.
Balmigère once was coached by bracelet winner Vanessa Selps, and as you mentioned, he does some coaching himself now.
A former chiropractor from Australia, Joe Hashem checks. Balmigère bets 43,000.
I think he's posturing. Joe, you got to agree with me. The flop missed Balmigère's Jack 9, and he's bet hoping the flop also missed you.
Hashem will come along with middle pair.
Yeah, we got him where we want him, Joe.
Turn card now. Ace of clubs.
Anytime there's an ace out there, you don't feel quite as happy with what you're holding. Hashem just has the fives.
Hashem checks again. Doors open now for Balmigère, I'd imagine.
Wide open for the Jack 9 off.
He's going to follow up with 86,000.
This is some pretty serious posturing now. He bets half the pot. Call, Joe. This guy's spinning a tale of deceit.
Hashem will lay it down. Balmigère will take that hand. And he had 7-6. He had everybody fooled but you on the Jack Link's Beef Jerky wildcard hand.
Lon, how do you say very good in French?
Très bien.
Très bien, Francois, très bien. I called your bluff, but you swagglefused Monsieur Hashem.
Advantage France. Back to the Rio, once filled with hundreds of poker tables, now down to the final 24 tables. There's Estelle Denny, cautiously protecting her cards, her chips, everything she owns out there.
Estelle is a well-regarded sports journalist and broadcaster, pretty much the French version of me.
After losing her pocket aces to the muck, she's got a long uphill climb, sitting with 139,000 chips. There is Phil Ivey, as he's in great shape to knock out another player. Ivey's pocket king's a huge favorite to the pocket nines of Claudio Baptista after a flop of ace-ace-5.
Baptista down to a 2-outer. He'll need a 9.
Turn card is another ace, so Ivey with the better full house will win that hand and eliminate Baptista.
Phil Ivey quietly making some noise again. But remember, my man, even though he's got 7 bracelets, he has never won one in Hold'em.
Once again, there's Warren Zacke with pocket 10. Zacke called the all-in of Tom Lutz. Lutz shoved with the nut flush draw after the flop.
Well, Lutz a slight favorite. Quite a call from Zacke on a nearly 2 million chip all-in.
Now Lutz is going to have to hit the river.
Lutz looking for an ace, queen, or any club to stick around.
It is a 5 of spades. Zacke will win that big pot, and Tom Lutz is knocked out.
Boy, Lutz had twice the chip average just a moment ago. Now Warren Zacke has all his chips. Zacke, the last South African in the field. You may recall Raymond Rami's final table run in 2007.
So with almost 4 million chips, Zacke is the new chip leader. Tom Schneider, the former top dog, has dropped to 4th. Some other notable players, Peter Eastgate below chip average, as is Ivey, but Phil's chip count is on the uptick. At the featured table, Jeff Shulman raised with ace-king. Tyler Patterson went all-in with king-queen, and Jeff called and is a favorite to knock him out.
This is a replay for Shulman. He knocked out Sar Wilf earlier in this exact situation.
Flop now, and there's an ace. Jeff with aces up. Patterson needs something.
And both Wilf and Patterson pushed with king-queen when they both had enough chips, in my opinion, to wait for a better spot.
If I called you a photo, right? Of course.
Turn card now is a queen. That helps, but it's only step 1.
Best one you can get.
Tyler Patterson.
Come on, Miranda.
Looking for the runner miracle. Another queen, and he gets to stick around.
River card is another tray. Shulman wins with a better full house. Tyler Patterson eliminated in 210th place.
And Jeff Shulman benefiting again from king-queen pushing when he's holding ace-king.
Suddenly, Jeff Shulman beginning to accumulate chips at this feature table.
He could use a shave.
What's going on here?
Pretty crazy here.
No wonder you can get friggin' 5 million chips.
Joe commenting on what he thinks is reckless play.
What's going on?
Craziness.
What am I missing? Like, is something, I'm missing something, yeah?
Jeff says you're not missing anything. They're playing too loose, and I'm chipping up, buddy.
Mate, let me tell you, they have no idea.
Yeah, I think Joe is licking his chops at potential opportunities to take out overzealous opponents. All right, to table 2, Antonio Esfandiari watching this hand as actor Lou Diamond Phillips is heads up with Kevin O'Donnell, who re-raised to 87,000 with ace-5 off. Phillips called with ace-king. Let's see a flop. 7, king, king. Lou Diamond Phillips with trip kings. And he checks.
Lou with the nonchalant check.
O'Donnell will bet it 93,000.
The 1% hand dives into the water without a swimsuit on.
LDP with a flat call.
Cool hand, Lou.
Turn card is an ace, and Phillips now with kings full. O'Donnell paired that ace. Lou Diamond Phillips checks.
Cool hand, Lou, acting like he doesn't care much for the hand.
O'Donnell checks behind. River card is a 10. Phillips with the check mark. He's checked twice, but he's going to bet it now, 75,000.
That's such a small bet into that pot.
You got the king? It's only one you can smooth call with. Wow.
It smells fishy to Kevin O'Donnell.
Rainbow. 390 in there for $75,000. It's like such a bargain.
There are no bargains, Kevin. It's a scam.
I call. I'm giving it to you. I know you got the king.
He's got the king and the ace.
Nice hand, sir.
Cool hand, Lou.
Only a donkey pays you off when he knows he's beat, but I like to make Antonio happy once in a while.
Antonio seems mildly amused, but a $500,000 chip pot for Lou Diamond Phillips is just what the doctor ordered for the actor at this stage of the game.
Little value.
The World Series of Poker, presented by Jack Link's Beef Jerky. Main Event.
Welcome back to the Rio. This tournament ticker brought to you by FullTiltPoker.net. The last woman standing has broken the top 100 each of the last 6 years, but none has made it to the final table. That only happened in 1995. Estelle Denny just called all in after pairing her 8 on the flop. She's still trailing the pocket 10s of Alper Sar. This could be it for Denny.
Estelle has never recovered from her pocket aces getting mucked by the dealer.
She gets no help on the turn.
And now Estelle Denny, perhaps down to her last card. She'll need an ace or an 8 or she's gone.
River card is a king, and that will do it. Estelle Denny eliminated in 203rd place.
Tough timing on that pocket ace incident.
Because of that, J.C. Tran and the others here thinking maybe Estelle's stay was somewhat abbreviated.
She handled that dealer incident with class. We wish her well.
So with Denny on the rail, the main event has just 2 women remaining. One of them, Leo Margetts, just bet $70,000 into Tom Schneider.
Leo's got a bachelor's degree in business and a master's in communications.
The $70,000 chip bet is called by Schneider. A 10 of diamonds on the turn. Schneider checked. And Margetts moves all in.
She communicates that pretty well. Her relatively small stack trying to tell the monster stack of Tom Schneider, I've got a hand.
This would cost Tom just about 10% of his stack. Schneider tries to find his cards behind the chips and folds.
The 25-year-old poker pro hanging tough.
Come on, show them off. One time. Oh my God.
Dan Bilzerian looking on, commenting from the peanut gallery.
It sounds like none of the table believes her.
What would you put me on?
Ace king. 100% ace king. Maybe ace queen. No pair. No.
Doesn't matter what she had, but she has just about doubled her stack here on day 5. The only other woman left, Nicole Pepe, is reaching for chips at another table. She bets $80,000 into Boulevard Palacios after the flop.
Pepe, a 30-year-old poker pro from Southern California. Palacios, a 25-year-old pro from Panama.
And he makes the call. Turn card is a tray of clubs. Palacios checks, Pepe checks. The 9 of diamonds on the river. Palacios checks again.
Well, I had a beautiful flop, but I ain't going crazy with it.
She shows a pair of aces with a busted flush draw.
You have hearts too?
She had been dry for a spell.
Are you thanking your lucky stars? You didn't catch a heart?
Go, Nicole!
Wow, it's my first hand of
It's been a while. Nicole getting a little stronger there. She says she kind of fell into the game after college. Little did she know that she would also fall into love in the poker room.
You know, I just got married, so I'm a newlywed. I was playing 5-10 no limit, and he was playing 400-800 mixed game, and their table was right next to ours. And we just talked, and that was the end. That was it. 3 years later, we're married. Poker is such a tough and emotional job. Every day is different, and one day you love it, the next day you hate it. Wow. You hear every day in the poker room about guys and their wives call and they're like, oh, you gotta come home, and they hate that they're playing poker and they don't understand it and they don't want them to lose money. And I mean, marriages are broke up over it. Whoa! But our marriage is kind of based on it. We understand each other in the game so well that even when we have awful swings or bad days, you know, we help each other through it, and actually makes us stronger and be able to get through those hard times even more.
She originally moved to Los Angeles to become an actress. That's always a mistake. She then met her husband, Tad Jurgens, and now has found the right stage in poker.
Back to our featured table. Action on ElkY Grospellier on the Jack Link's Beef Jerky Pocket Cam. Couple of 9s.
ElkY says he loves making quick decisions online. Live games are too slow for him.
He raises to 28,000. Hashim with pocket 10s.
Joe, not an online guy. His first exposure to No Limit was seeing rounders.
You all have no idea.
The Hashim rant against the new poker order continues.
He calls for 28,000. Folded to Propson with 8-7 of diamonds in the big blind.
Propson started playing poker in high school, nickel and dime games. The problem with nickel and dime games is you need a lot of nickels and dimes.
3 to the flop, queen, 6, king. That missed all of them. Hashim with his 10s is still ahead.
Nobody looks particularly happy with that flop.
Propson checks, ElkY checks. Hashim checks his 10s. Turn card is another 6. Joe Hashim with his 10s still in the lead. Grospellier with his 9s drawing thin. Propson is drawing dead. And he checks.
Propson minds his P's and Q's.
ElkY checks as well.
45.
Joe bets 45,000 with the best hand. Propson folds. ElkY with pocket 9s. And he's going to lay it down.
Pretty disciplined laydown by ElkY.
Did you show 2 9s?
2 9s.
You show 2 10s? And you lay down 2 9s? He knows. ElkY, right here,
I never
buddy.
get my money in behind, man. You got pass. He knows.
I know I have no idea.
ElkY's my boy.
You know that 10s are better than king queen, right?
The 10s are better than queen queen?
Yeah. How come your money wasn't? Oh, yeah, trap. Very good. Very sneaky.
Tell you what, there's a lot to be learnt. And I'm still learning.
Joe certainly knows that part of the process is learning to adapt. The most sought-after prize in the game of poker, the main event bracelet. Its owner can claim it on November 10th here at the Rio. Joe Hashim already has one.
Contrary to popular belief, this game is not only about mathematics.
Oh, of course. Well, it is. It's just if you can narrow the hands to a certain amount, that you change the math. If you know he has aces, the math is exactly fold.
And how do you know he has aces?
Well, that's your read.
Yeah.
Joe trying to school the youngins.
Action on Jeff Shulman. Ace 9.
Shulman's a smart man. There's no place for the ace.
He does fold it. ElkY. 7 deuce.
Rags.
Joe Hashim now.
On the button.
Suited king.
25.
Raise, 25,000.
25,000 is the raise.
That's a min raise plus 1,000 wand. I know math.
Catalano with pocket 10s in the small blind. Calls for 19,000 more.
Maybe I don't know math. I would have raised there.
Big blind gets out of the way, so Catalano and Hashim heads up. The flop is king, deuce 6. Hashim pairs his king to take the lead. Catalano checked. 40,000 from Joe.
Joe knows math and he knows reads. His read is that he has the best hand right here.
Catalano with his 2 10s, check calls.
Catalano might know math, but this is a bad read.
Turn card is an 8, and it gets better for Joe. King's up. Catalano checks again.
90.
90 from Hashim.
Hashim again bets about half the pot. Good read and maybe good math. I know I have no idea.
Catalano gives up the pocket pair.
Catalano mucks it before the damage gets too severe. Matt didn't help him there.
Hashim will take that pot.
Didn't have king queen, huh? I've warned you about that hand, right?
He would have won with it too.
Would have done his ass.
Oh yeah?
Would have gone broke.
I know broke.
What'd you have, like a pair of 10s or something?
Maybe.
Wow.
Maybe?
Right around there.
Exactly there.
Missed the 8.
You had 9s.
You had 9s?
No, you had 9s. Or 7s.
See my cards?
You drawn to 2 outs.
You know where I'm at.
Catalano doubled up through Joe a bit earlier. Joe takes some back. Fewer than 200 players now remain in the main event. If you don't have $1 million yet, you're below the chip average. There is pro Kenny Tran, who finished 16th in the big one 2 years ago. He's facing a big bet from Nick Maimoni.
Once Kenny's involved, he hates giving up a hand.
But Kenny will lay that one down. Maimoni will collect the chips.
Good time, so bluff. More bluffing you. I think you steal it. I always think you steal. You look like the guy that, can't help it. You look like a criminal.
Kenny trusts no one.
Taleo Margetts. She's up against Dan Bilzerian, who just re-raised pre-flop.
Kenny Tran certainly would not trust Dan Bilzerian.
And Margetts will lay it down.
Show the bluff. Show the bluff. Come on, one time.
I want Dan to show. And he shows 7-5.
That meets bluff standards.
Leo Margetts has to get on her horse. She has slipped below 600,000. Over to Lou Diamond Phillips now in the field. That's a raise to 160,000 after a flop of 5-7 tray. Onto the big stacked Matt Affleck. He folds. Over to the big stack of Casper Cortez, a Danish poker pro.
He's friends with fellow Dane Peter Eastgate.
And he folds. So Lou Diamond Phillips takes the pot and shows queens.
He doesn't care. He doesn't care. I just show he doesn't care.
What did you have?
You see? Yeah, it's because they boycotted my movies in Russia. They never got over there. You know what I'm saying?
He's from Denmark, Lou.
Lou won the reality show I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here, but he's not the only reality star in the room today. Antonio Esfandiari has his own reality show with Phil Locke called I Bet You.
I'm sorry, did he sign her chest?
I believe he did. And now a stomach?
Well, there's upside and there's downside to the human body. And a tough break for Antonio. He doesn't have that short of a name.
Several poker players have crossed over to the reality TV world. Annie Duke had a memorable run on Celebrity Apprentice, as did Jean Rivera Ballant on Survivor, which got us wondering who else would make good reality TV on this edition of The Nuts.
Oh, I got some good shots here.
On a reality show, you need someone who's really insane. Mike Mattisau would be the one.
No! I mean, somebody just needs to put the camera on him, and it's great TV. Turn the off.
It's off, right?
Who else would you have here?
Yeah, I know for TV.
Gonna be Scott and Win, baby.
All you need to know, baby.
I'd probably have to pick the brat.
I passed the test.
Phil Hellmuth starring in Do You Know Who I Am?
Idiot from Northern Europe.
24-hour Phil Cam, give it to me.
Sir.
I would have a blast. If I did it, I'd love it.
That's what I've been waiting for.
Just yesterday, agent said, are you interested in being on Dancing with the Stars?
The thing that's nice about poker players is they're all completely dysfunctional. You could have any of them, and it would just be a complete train wreck, which is what a reality show is.
I can't see Phil Hellmuth on Dancing with the Stars unless they allow him to dance without a partner.
I'm not sure anyone's worthy to dance with Phil. Esfandiari with pocket aces.
When I get pocket aces, I really prefer if one of the cards is the ace of spades.
So Antonio came up short there. Over to Adam Sanders from Brookline, Massachusetts with pocket tens.
Sanders attended Drew University in Madison, New Jersey. I believe they are the Ragin' Cajuns.
A re-raise to $85,000.
Will Antonio pull the trigger right now?
All in.
He does indeed. He's going for it.
I call.
Sanders makes the call to put himself at risk. Antonio got a taker.
Boy, Sanders would have had 25 big blinds left if he folded there. Didn't it seem likely that Antonio had aces, kings, or queens?
Here's the flop. Couple of kings and a 4. No help to Sanders.
And Sanders now staring at a 2-outer. He will need a 10.
Turn card is an 8, down to his last card now.
Sanders has to have a 10 and a 10 only, or he is wamboozled.
River card is a tray. That's going to do it. Antonio wins the hand. Sanders eliminated. We heard Hashem talking about the crazy play he's seen. Sanders got too frisky with those 10s, and he paid the ultimate price.
He was a kid with a dream.
It went almost $37,000, and Antonio takes all his chips.
Young man, young man. Young man. Huh? Young man, one time.
A shot in the arm for Antonio Esfandiari, who was seeking to make a big impression with his first main event cash.
The 2009 World Series of Poker is presented by Jack Link's Beef Jerky. Feed your wild side. And in part by WSOP.com. Get official items for your home poker game at WSOP.com. And PokerStars.net, the world's largest poker site.
Welcome back to the Rio, where 187 players remain as Day 5 nears its finish. At Phil Ivey's table, the player on his right is Hub Verdenschot. He opens shoves pre-flop with ace-queen offsuit.
You know, I'm not moving all in with ace-queen off with 30 big blinds left and Phil Ivey to my left.
It's for his last $286,000. Phil calls with pocket eights. The blinds fold, so Verdenschot at risk with 2 overs. Now the flop. Jack 9 deuce. Ivey's pocket eights stand up through the flop.
Verdenschot looking for big cards.
It's a king. Ivey still ahead. Verdenschot with a straight draw.
So now Verdenschot needs an ace, queen, or 10, or he is eliminated.
Okay. The river card is a tray. Ivey wins the pot and knocks off another player. So we're down to 186 as Verdenschot hits the rail.
It's been a long time since my man's been above chip average. We have made it. I am exhausted.
To another table. All the hard work for Lou Diamond Phillips today could go up in flames. He's all in with pocket kings against 2 pocket pairs of aces.
It's 2 against 1. At least Lou's got the live pocket pair.
Chris Bach and Casper Cortez with the aces. The flop doesn't help Lou Diamond Phillips.
No king on the flop, so maybe there will be a king on the turn.
The turn card is just a 5.
No king on the turn, so now there absolutely has to be a king on the river, or our last celebrity is gone.
The river card is another 9, a full boat for all, but it's not enough to save Lou Diamond Phillips.
Lou played so well today, it took 2 guys to take him out.
What an impressive run for the likable actor. Bach and Cortez share the pot and the knockout.
The guy on the right has never even seen a Lou Diamond Phillips film.
Kings and
So Lou Diamond Phillips will make his exit from the 09 main event in 186th place.
And now that all the shoe clerks, crumb bums, and actors are out of here, the real poker players can concentrate on winning the main event.
All right, back to the featured table. Joe Hashim looks down at 8-6 suited into the muck.
If I have king queen, I'm not folding.
No matter what.
No matter what.
King Queen has been the farewell hand here at the feature table.
Queen too. Everybody lost with king queen so many times that this table is due for a big win.
Favorite. You promised.
Action folded over to Jeff Shulman.
Only the blinds are left.
9-4 of diamonds.
Even in the small blind, it doesn't look good.
He's reaching.
You don't want to do that.
I know.
And he'll raise it to 35,000.
Shulman trying to steal his neighbor's blind.
ElkY in the big blind with ace tray of spades.
ElkY might repop him.
He has not been repopping, just makes the call.
I like my position in this hand.
You like your position?
Yeah.
I like my hand. I like my hand and my position.
All right, these two are heads up to the flop. Jack, 10. ElkY's ace makes him a 3-1 favorite.
All air on that flop.
And Shulman is going to bet that air, 25,000.
Sometimes from out of position, you show strength and take it down. For ElkY, I believe this is raise or fold.
Or call.
As usual, I have no idea.
Turn card now is a king. Now a queen would give both players a straight, but ElkY's would be better. Jeff bets 25,000.
25,000? What the heck is that? I know I have no idea.
Just a call.
I don't understand ElkY's call. Maybe he's going to try to bluff the river.
The river card is an 8 of hearts, so ElkY with the check mark.
ElkY just with ace high, Shulman just with 9 high.
Shulman with a tiny bet again, 30,000.
A sneaky small value bet bluff. Daniel Negreanu would call this in a heartbeat just out of curiosity.
ElkY. Suspicious now.
Well, ElkY has no hand, and like me, I believe he has no idea.
And he folds.
Oh, you're the weakest.
Oh, and let the trash talking begin.
Shove up.
Okay.
That's what I folded.
Oh, that play by Jeff Shulman was way over my head.
Well played by Jeff Shulman. So at this featured table, we had the #1 ranked player in the world, along with a former world champion. But it is Jeff Shulman who gets the best of them as day 5 comes to a close. The finish line is almost within sight, making it a day of heartache for some, including one of the 3 remaining women, Estelle Denny.
It's a joke.
And one-time chip leader, Amir Lehavat. But for all the power players still here,
Young man, one time.
it was business as usual.
We're still running. We're still in the battle.
Now just 185 players remain, and day 6 won't be any easier.
A lot more work to do. I mean, still got to make it to the final table.
For Norman Chad, I'm Lon McCarran. So long from the World Series of Poker.